pretty damn impressive. His run from 2011 to 2014, I mean, TJ Wahlberger is just over a minute. John Fitch gone in 12 seconds. Martin Canton at 46. All three knockout of the night. He beat Mike Pierce, Josh Koscheck, Carlos Condit. 6 straight wins that led him to GSP. And let's pretend he won. He then defeated Robbie Lawler in another classic. Barely lost the rematch, another one many think he should have got on the cards. If we're just talking straight up fights, the guy is an all-time great welterweight, but he's likely not going to be seen as such. And as for his late career de-evolution, I think he truly destroyed his body cutting so much weight in such a bad way, and it all just came back to bite him. I think way more so than anything USADA might have sensed. And I know the steroid thing will follow him forever, even though he's literally never failed a single test whatsoever but the eyeball one. For my money, though, the guy is way better than he's ever going to get credit for. You know who else never gets enough credit? The editors of these videos. All I do is write the thing and voice it. Is that a video? No, it's a really short podcast. Luke Taylor takes that little seed and nourishes it. He keeps away the predators and he grows that little nothing into a big-ass, ripe, juicy video. So give him a follow on social media. And Ben Rosette, soundtrack those tunes, a vital component. He's a farmer that deserves your praise as well. Before you... Rivalries are what drives this sport. Forget the titles and the money, it's all about the bad blood. People love drama. But the thing is, there's a sweet spot. If you go overboard with things or it drags out too long, then instead of everything ending with a satisfying crescendo, everybody's just tired and glad that it's finally done or wishes it would be over if it's still ongoing. So today we're going to take a look at some beefs that got overcooked. They may have had their moments, they may have had great fights, but when the dust settled, most fans were more than ready to move on. Let's reminisce over some of the most draining feuds in the sport, shall we? I'm Tommy from MMA On Point, and these are the 10 most exhausting rivalries in MMA history.
Whoever they put in front of me. I'm not gonna let someone hijack
Number
my
10,
destiny.
Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. The first bout in this trilogy doesn't really play into the exhaustion. It was during Conor's rise to stardom and was great. 7 years later, McGregor was now the biggest star in the sport's history, but hadn't really been doing a whole bunch of fighting. And while there was, of course, interest in the bout with Poirier, who was pretty damn popular as well at that point, the fight didn't feel particularly important, and Conor was, well, not Conor. He was very nice. He wore glasses a lot. He was acting like a dad. Dustin gave him hot sauce. They agreed to do some charity. Then the fight happened, and oh man, McGregor's first ever TKO loss. That next week, the rumors of the rematch had begun, and it was like, okay, I guess so, sure. This is where things would get tiring. Instead of getting the mythical, quote, 2016 Conor for the trilogy bout at UFC 264, we got this new, meaner Conor with an unhinged edge. The trash talk got ugly, with a lot focusing on Dustin's wife. The fight already didn't feel warranted given the previous outcome, and now the build was just not fun. Had the fight ended normally, I think this one probably wouldn't have made the list. But with the leg break and the meltdown post-fight talking about killing Dustin's family, and knowing that that outcome would mean very likely a fourth fight, this one got tiring real fast. And they're still talking to this day. While I have no doubt if they did run it back, it would sell well, I'm not exactly looking forward to more of it. Number 9, George St. Pierre and Nick Diaz. When Nick Diaz was set to come to the UFC after his incredible Strikeforce run, the hype couldn't have been any bigger for a potential matchup with George St. Pierre. They had very different styles, they were very different people, and Nick was considered by many the best outside the UFC at that point. Could he dethrone the welterweight king? It looked like we were going to find out right away. UFC 137 was to be headlined by the pair, but Nick skipped a media appearance, got demoted down to a fight with BJ Penn, and then GSP ended up pulling out of his replacement fight with Carlos Condit because of a knee injury. It was a big old mess, but Diaz versus Penn was a classic, which led to a fantastic call-out by Nick of St. Pierre post-fight. Are you at, George? Okay, the hype was even bigger now. The fight was then scheduled for 3 months later at UFC 143. 2 months before, though, GSP pulled out, Carlos Condit stepped in. Diaz won 2-5, but no, he lost the decision. And it appeared this epic showdown was never going to happen. But George survived NBK's head kick, and even though he was coming off a loss, the UFC gave Nick another shot at 158. Third time's the charm. After all the build-up, all the talk, the stupid delays, we were finally here. Of course, before we actually got to the bout, fight week would be a fiasco. Diaz's camp was talking about secret weight allowances for the champ. Literally during the card before the fight, Jake Shields is tweeting about suspicious raps. The fight ended up not being the competitive classic we hoped for. It was a one-sided 25-minute display of dominance by St. Pierre. This should have been the end of it, but it was not. Next came strange stories from Nick's team about being poisoned before the fight, about suspicious drug tests, the weigh-in, on and on. They were talking about rematches. Everything that happened afterwards really dragged this rivalry down. Until they shook hands last year at 266. That was neat. Number 8, Luke Rockhold and Michael Bisping. I don't know if you know this or not, but Michael Bisping's a pretty spectacular trash talker.
No one gives a fuck, Josh.
Luke Rockhold, not so much. And so a lot of times the interactions between them, while hilarious, gave off such uncomfortable energy. Their initial issues with each other came from a comment Bisping made while Rockhold was still Strikeforce middleweight champion about a sparring session they had. This information didn't really become relevant though until their first meeting leading up to Fight Night Sydney in 2014. The trash talk was your typical Bisping fare, lots of awkward Luke Rockhold moments.
You the fucking heat knocked out. Nobody. You knocked out. That was body cake. You just knocked him out.
The two never meet again. That was until 2.5 weeks out from UFC 199. Now middleweight champion Rockhold needed a new opponent on short notice, and the Count stepped in. Considering how little time there was, the build-up for this one felt like they had a world tour in 6 months. Mike was, of course, cutting like a knife in every promo, every interview, the pre-fight presser.
Shut the fuck up.
The guy was on fire. You could tell they clearly didn't really like each other. The fight itself was, of course, a stunner, with the Count's journey to gold one of the most epic in MMA history. But this one stayed its welcome just a bit too long. After the fight, a buzzed Bisping and a shocked Luke Rockhold sat a few feet from each other, and this presser felt like they were promoting a third fight. But they weren't. They were just talking shit to each other.
Hey, buddy, you got knocked the fuck out.
I definitely get why a lot of people really enjoyed this presser. Some humble pie for Luke. Mike was hilarious. For me personally, this is where the rivalry got exhausting. I laughed, but I cringed a lot. I know I'm probably not in the majority on that, though. Of course, things would continue between them all the way up through the end of Bisping's career, and while it seemed like that third fight would be inevitable, that's not how it worked out, and so the end of their saga went on just a bit too long, as a lack of a wrap-up left us all feeling unresolved and unfulfilled.
How's that for you?
At least they made up recently, though. Number 7, Chael Sonnen, fulfilled.
How's that for you?
At least they made up recently, though. Number 7, Chael Sonnen and Wanderlei Silva. Timing is everything in mixed martial arts, and that goes for its greatest storylines, too. Things go on too long, and all the air gets taken out of the rivalry's sails. A great example of that is Chael Sonnen and Wanderlei Silva. It seemed inevitable that the bad guy and the axe murderer would eventually meet. When Sonnen was going scorched earth on Brazil in the lead-up to his bouts with Anderson Silva, Vandy took issue with it, and thus the seeds were sown. They would continue to grow, with Chael calling for a fight with Silva after his defeat of Shogun Rua.
Silva 3 months, you were the bad guy!
In late 2013, it was announced that the two would have their fight after they coached a season of Tough Brazil. Everything was chugging along nicely. The season even had this amazing brawl between the two. But then it all fell apart. First, Vandy got a lifetime ban over not taking a random drug test for NSAC. Then Sonnen failed a pair of tests right after that and retired. Well, fuck guys, thanks for the build-up. But of course, the ban wasn't for life and neither was the retirement. Unfortunately, though, we wouldn't end up getting to see this fight until it happened 3 whole years later in Bellator. The steam was gone and the fight was not competitive, with Silva having no answer for Chael's wrestling. What could have been one of the most heated fights in history ended up being so much less when it was all said and done. Number 6, Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate. If you want fans to be so sick of your rivalry that they just want the damn fight to happen so it'll be over, coach tough together, because the massive overexposure of your animosity will almost guarantee it. It was already well established that Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate were not best friends prior to the start of season 18 of The Ultimate Fighter. Rousey took Tate's title in Strikeforce, they'd said some not so nice things about each other, and when it was announced the two would be coaching Tough, there was a buzz as Ronda was quickly growing in popularity, and she now had a legit rival to feed off of for a whole season on television. Lucky us, right? Not really. The beef ended up being more off-putting than anything, and actually ended up backfiring on Rousey, who many fans turned on following a season full of pettiness between the two coaches, with Ronda often portrayed in a negative light. Now, of course, it's reality TV and heavily edited, but that's what fans were being fed each week. It really soured the build-up to their rematch, not to mention how prolific so long these builds feel, as every episode of Tough is a mini ad for the upcoming bout. UFC 168 would end up being the most competitive fight Rousey had had up to that point, and the only one that went more than a round. What could have ended on a high note afterwards and made the season's drama feel less exhausting only exacerbated it when Ronda refused to shake Misha's hand following the fight. Geez, okay then. Probably for the best we never got that trilogy fight. Number 5, Tito Ortiz and Ken Shamrock. It's certainly one of the most important rivalries in the sport's history, but what makes it perfect for this list is that there was just way too much of a good thing. Every bout was successful, fans at the time were very into it, but in retrospect, everything beyond the first fight was just nonsense, and it only got more tiring as things went on. The rivalry between Ortiz and the Lion's Den was one of the great stories of the early UFC, and to finally get a bout between Tito and Ken at UFC 40 was a big deal. The card's success a massively important moment for the budding Zuffa UFC. The reality of that fight, though, was that Shamrock was way past his prime, and he'd not had a significant win in 6 years, which is why a prime Ortiz absolutely dog-walked him. This should have been the end of this thing, but a whole 4 years later, the beef was still popular enough to warrant a tough season and a rematch. Ken was now 42, and here's where things just got stupid. Tito pretty much put the fight away in the first minute, but because the stoppage was maybe slightly early, and Shamrock put on a big drama show over it, we had to have a third fight just a few months later. It would pretty much be an instant replay of 61, with the ref letting it go on long enough for people to shut up about the stoppage. Again, it did massive ratings, but the reality of this thing is that it shouldn't have been happening in the first place. And by the time that third fight came around, it was beyond overdone by the UFC. Number 4. It's been one of the all-time great rivalries in sports history, with two of the greatest ever competing in their primes against each other. Ended up being one of the most frustrating and unsatisfying we've ever seen. The build-up to the first fight between Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier at UFC 182 was fantastic. Chef's kiss. It had been building since it was clear DC was heading for the UFC from Strikeforce. The two had genuine heat, and it showed. The press conference brawl, the ESPN hot mic. It was one of the most anticipated fights ever, and while it wasn't as competitive as fans had wanted, it happened, and there was a clear winner. Then Jon Jones' life fell apart completely and really soured the rest of this rivalry. First, there was the hit-and-run arrest, which would see the champ stripped, leaving DC to claim the division's title. This re-sparked the rivalry and could have culminated in a classic showdown once JBJ returned. The reason it ended up being exhausting is because that damn return took forever. First he comes back and DC's injured, so Jones fights OSP for some reason for interim gold. Okay, that's fine, I guess. Biggest rematch ever will now take place at UFC 200. Just
free Holiday Inn Express breakfast, anyone?
Just kidding, Jon Jones pops for PEDs right before the card, fights off, Jon suspended and stripped again, see ya in over a year. Now UFC 214 is the show. Jon actually makes it to the card, the fight is interesting, it ends in dramatic fashion, Jon reclaims his throne and apparently is getting his life back on track. What a moment. Nope, we can't even. It feels tainted, and then we never got a resolution. They would never fight again, but they would go on and continue to be bitter rivals. This one should have been the jewel in the Triple Crown, and instead it was just a huge mess. Number 3, Tim Sylvia and Andrei Arlovski. It's the title trilogy nobody wanted, but there was really not much choice. The early 2000s were a weird time for the heavyweight division in the UFC. Once the promotion's prestige weight class, it felt like the level of competition had decreased dramatically with the exit of Randy Couture to 205, and the incredible talent competing in Japan that felt miles ahead of what the UFC had to offer. It was during this time that we got a trio of fights between Tim Sylvia and Andrei Arlovski. At the point of their first encounters, some people were already tired of the giant from MFS. He'd been stripped of the title when he popped dirty after UFC 44, and he'd lost another title fight with Frank Mir at 48. But with Mir's motorcycle accident, he found himself again getting a chance at gold in a shallow division, now taking on Arlovski for the interim belt at UFC 51. The fight would have a shock finish when Pitbull subbed the Maniac in less than a minute's time. Just a little over a year later, they would meet again for real gold. There was just no other options, and Tim kept winning. The second fight saw Sylvia get hurt bad early, but he would score the comeback TKO victory before the first ended. With the title, the pair were 1-1, and without a bunch of other options, the third fight was set up. I don't think this trilogy would be as hated if 61 delivered, but it did not. The bout was a 5-round snooze fest, and by the time Randy Couture came out of retirement to take the belt back from Sylvia, fans couldn't wait for the regime change. The pair would fight a
So if you don't know, when Cuphead came out, there was this game journalist who is a person whose job it is to play and report on video games. And they had a bit of difficulty with with the tutorial of Cuphead, to say the least, and it became quite a meme back then. Cuphead also has a bit of a reputation for being a relatively difficult game, so you've got a lot of jokes like, oh, Cuphead is actually Dark Souls 4 and stuff like that. But, so a lot of these reviews are just jokes playing off of that. But you can tell, you know, there's a lot of them that are actually not jokes. Some people are actually getting really frustrated at the difficulty of this game and leaving some funny reviews as a result. So let's check out some more. The graphics are so bad. Looks like they are from 1950 or something. This one's obviously a joke because, you know, that's kind of the point of Cuphead's style. I've got 20 years of gaming experience, and oh boy, was I excited to play Cuphead. The game looks amazing and has really nice animation, so I was very excited to get right into it. But my major problem was I ran into some sort of bug. First of all, I did the intro and it was all well, and then I got to the tutorial, and for some reason the developers thought it would be funny to put a block there that's too high to jump over. So I thought maybe this is some sort of trickery, and I tried every possible solution in the book, but I just gave up. 0 out of 10. Cuphead, the most racist game I have ever seen in my life. This game's animation style is based on those racist cartoons from the 1930s and 40s. So clearly this game is the embodiment of racism. I can't believe a game like this would be able to be released on Steam. I want this game boycotted immediately. If you support this game, you too are an racist and ableist scumbag. Pretty sure this one's a joke. I hope so, at least. It's too hard. There should be a way to pay so you can get better powers. To make the game easy if you pay. Yes, please give us more microtransactions. Bye. Punched a hole through my wall. Not even a half hour into playing Cuphead. Punched a hole in the wall. Ooh. Oh yeah, so I saw a few reviews that were like, stop looking for the negative reviews. Just buy the game already. Like, people who actually like Cuphead and support it, but they give it a negative review so that people who are looking at negative reviews will see them telling you to stop looking at negative reviews. I thought that was kind of funny. Get rid of expert mode before I oof myself. Getting expert on all bosses is impossible and cannot be completed. Yes, that's what impossible means. Anyone who claims that they are lying or cheated. This is easily the worst game I have ever played within my life. Alt F4 works pretty good. I bruised my knuckle, I broke the arms of my chair, broke the keypad enter key, about to buy a punching bag just so I can beat it to shreds. Alright, well good luck with that. Here's a review from someone who refunded the game. This is the first game I bought on Steam and I feel so ripped off. The game is adorable, but I can't beat a single level. Not a one. But still, impossible. Sorry, easier. I sat there and tried time after time, and not a single clear. Steam says I played it 1 hour. I find myself so aggravated that it's not even close to fun. Wasted money for this game that I'll never get back. Cuphead? More like Cuckhead. I can say that on YouTube, right? Absolute waste of time. You die. You die. You die. You die. You die. You die. Completely unplayable. Save your money. This game looks like Mickey Mouse, and I hate Mickey Mouse. Why are the graphics so censored? Oh, and where is Jabba the Hutt? Very bad game, don't play it. 1 out of 7. Product refunded. Too hard for my baby brain. Oh, yikes. Sucks. Can't jump on enemies. Music is annoying. Practicing doesn't make you any better because there are no patterns. I'm gonna play DK now on a whole year passed and I still can't beat the first level. Nice difficulty control you got there. This game is too difficult to play for me, so I can't enjoy it. I would love an easy mode, yes. 5 out of 5 art/animation. 0 out of 5 level design. This company needs to fire their level design person if they really have one. If not, then please hire a person who knows what is fun to play, what is inhumane, stupid torture. 0 out of 5 gameplay. There is no gameplay in this game. Weird control. 0 out of 5 for this FXing hopeless world full of stupid people who don't know what a really good game is and give this stupid game positive reviews. Or received the product for free. Someone bought me this game, so I will oof myself, and let me tell you, it works. That's such a big brain move. Just send a Steam key for like a really frustrating game to your worst enemy. Holy cow. That's big brain.
I will.
You don't know what real frustration is until you try this game. I really wanted to like the game, but bottom line is that it's just too damn hard. I'm a gamer since 1984. I completed numerous games, including FPS and platform games, but this one, I just gave up. My 2 children, 7 and 12, also gave up. My wife's boyfriend also gave up. Game is fine, nostalgic,
Hey, yo, your
sounds
wife's
great,
boyfriend?
and looking fun, but so, it's almost impossible to set the controllers truly up. What does that mean? And also, an advice here, never try to play together with your girlfriend. Dang, bro, Cuphead ending relationships out here. That's amazing.
Whoa.
Stupid dragon. I've seen a couple of reviews that were specifically angry about the dragon fight, which I think is all the way at, like, the final world, so... Interesting. Product refunded. 1 hour of playtime. Stuck on level 1. Curse this game. Product received for free. 1.2 hours on record. This game is have bugs, like I'm waiting 1 hour in the first loading screen or bugs in the final bosses. This censored, and no one need this game. So you waited an hour on the loading screen, but within the next 0.2 hours we're able to notice bugs in the final boss. Dang, bugs. This guy's a speedrunner. Product received for free. Product refunded. I want my money back.
I may have gotten this for free. Give me my money back.
Was on the other side of the room. Oh wait, this one's funny. I was about to TLDR, skip it, but so this person played through the whole game on simple difficulty, meaning they didn't collect the contracts, meaning they could not finish the game. That's really funny. And the worst about it. The worst part of it is that no matter how hard I've tried,
Yeah, he literally doesn't let me continue this.
I still won't get a refund for it. I know Steam's policy is of 2 hours of gameplay or 14 days since its purchase, but I only have 3.1 hours, so it's no excuse. This game's aesthetics might lead you to believe this is a fun game. It's not. The game is clearly designed for the masochistic swarm of Souls fans that have infested Steam in the last couple of years. Unless you find yourself agreeing to the salty gents in the comment section of this review, do not even consider buying it. I am sure some developer will soon publish a game with the same aesthetics, but aimed at the same part of the gaming community. Fun but repetitive, overly difficult, strangle people, oh my god. I'm 40% through, and I've only strangled 7 cats and my little brother already. Now we're at the positive reviews. Scroll back up and buy it. Did you think that review was funny? I didn't, but apparently 2,340 people did. And it's the Dark Souls of Bloodborne. Yes! And Morbius is one of the movies of all time. Thanks, I hate it. This is another one where someone sent their enemy Cuphead to piss them off. Cuphead is a video game. Yes, and Morbius is one of the movies of all time. My wife left.
Whoa. Wait, was that before or after you bought the game? After, okay.
If you're looking for a review on this game, you've come to the wrong place. But if you're looking for an outstanding piracy, it's come to the right place.
Hit him in the head. Just keep up with the music. There we go, he's dead.
Winner by knockout and moving on.
That's a pure... God damn, yep. Definitely might have poisoning my knee.
Did you know Minecraft added a new dimension? It's called Hell. This super flat world is just 3 layers of dirt and slime. There's absolutely nothing else. That's why my day 1 house looks so bad. It would be easy to think you can't get much progress in a barren world, but over these 100 days, I'm gonna prove myself by using multiple forgotten Minecraft mechanics. We're going to collect wood and a totem of undying. Guess which one is harder? The wood! The wood! But that's gonna take a while, so day 2 I just dug a bigger moat around my house. If a slime somehow got in, I don't know what I would do. I then spent the rest of the day looking for chickens. All the other animals are kind of useless right now because I can't breed them, but I can get seeds from bone meal, making raw chicken my first renewable food source. They'll live in this box peacefully until the great massacre of day 36. But for now, we live in the present. Day 3, I made the moat even deeper. Now remember, I'm digging this whole thing with my hands, so by the time I was done with it, it was already midday. I had just enough time to decorate my house, if you can even call it that, and then spent the night killing zombies. Firstly, rotten flesh is honestly a better food source than uncooked chicken. But secondly, it's the only way to gather iron. To be able to get a totem of undying and wood, we're going to need water. To do so, we need 10 iron, but the odds of zombies dropping iron is 1 in 120, so we need to make this more efficient. One thing I noticed was that zombies would get knocked away and I'd have to wait for them to walk back to hit them again. So day 4, I set out to fix that. My first design was a pillar in the middle of a pit. Then to make it safer, I built a path from my house to the pillar. That night, a spider was guarding the pillar, so I ended up turning a nearby creeper explosion into another pillar. I went to test it out, but that was quickly ended by a skeleton. Day 5, I decided to label my chicken coop. Not with signs, but with big silly letters. Unfortunately, though, I got distracted killing zombies once night hit, so we don't have chickens, just cheh. Day 6, I killed a horse.
Cheh.
Actually. This night, you can see me slowly developing the best method for killing zombies. So far, I pillar up and then build a wall behind the zombies so they don't get hit far away. This allows me to get more critical hits and faster hits. Getting iron is a 1 in 120 chance, so we are looking at killing over 1,000 zombies just for water.
Wait, did those guys say I need 10 iron? Hey? What? Me? Okay, something I need to do.
Sun's out, fun's out with the Disney Bundle. The hottest blockbusters are coming.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to some more Five Nights at Freddy's Juniors. As you guys saw in the last video, we completed nights 1 through 3, and we found out that we are a paranormal investigator.
Please leave your message.
That was close. That was extremely close. I gotta leak my classmate's phone number on
We're trying to
accident.
figure out why these children's ghosts
Former
are going
classmate.
into these animatronics, possessing them, and then trying to attack us. And yeah, we also met a guy called Paul Bear, I think his name was, or something random like that.
Bear
and
Paul?
We're stuck in a void with him. So this game's been very interesting so far, and I'm having a really good time with it. So we're going to be hopping into night 4 and going from there. Now, of course, if you guys do want to see more of this series, you know what to do. So let's be on time support, leave a like on it, stuff like that. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button right now, okay? You guys have been subscribing a lot lately, so I really appreciate
Why
it.
are calling
Welcome
me
to all the new people,
perfect
but let's go ahead
English?
and press continue and hop into night 4. Thursday night, a new friend. Ooh, a new friend. Oh, wait, it's a picture of Balloon Boy. I just thought about it. Yeah, we haven't actually seen Balloon Boy. I just always assumed that he was there, but I just wasn't finding him. But this might be where we actually spot him and run into him.
There's something for a stream.
Oh, boy. Oh, here it goes again. It's doing it in the small screen. I don't know what this bug is or what's going on here, but I'll have it full screen for you guys. What does it say? Paul Cave. Okay. We got, what the heck? The lighting is weird. This is so strange. This guy built his own little, like, fort in the middle of the void. Oh my god, that thing is scary. That's the puppet. It says boo. Alright, so
Booda, booda.
What the? Where?
There's something for a stream.
What's going on, guys? Stalker back again. Hope you're fantastic today, and welcome back to the terrifying Juniors. If you remember last episode,
Secret recipe. Murder.
Guys, we have discovered the secret recipe for TikTok's famous pink sauce. It's perfect!
I think I'm not feeling really well. Using the pepto.
Minty. Minty.
It's perfect!
Matthew, I'm not feeling really well. Have you seen the Pepto?
Minty.
I just brought on my whiteboard on. Hello.
Hi. Okay. So you want me to say something?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Quentin Stream. Go eat a cat. And
Go eat a cat.
go and subscribe. Okay. That's it. Bye.
Wait, did you say not to like and subscribe?
No, no, do it. Go,
Oh, okay.
go like, okay.
Yeah, do
Oh.
that part.
Go listen the cat. Okay, bye.
Okay. Don't eat a cat. Just don't eat cats. Please. Just do like and subscribe.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Food Theory, the show that stays fresh without refrigeration. Today we're looking at the latest viral food phenomenon, TikTok's infamous pink sauce. This neon nosh has been sweeping the internet all summer, leaving the tickers, tweeters, grammars, and tubers all clamoring for a squeeze of the stuff, and then clamoring for the nearest toilet as the sauce arrives unprotected, spoiled, or exploded.
All of this false propaganda that's going on the internet, I'm just a victim of clout.
Victim of clout, huh? Well, I'd rather be a victim of clout than a victim of botulism. For those of you who are unaware of what I'm talking about because you refuse to download TikTok in fear of our international corporate overlords,
Apparently, cat are yummy.
how much you're
Don't
gonna
listen
love
to
your
Maddie.
time on the platform, the pink sauce is a condiment that was invented by the self-proclaimed flavor genie, Chef P, a private chef who somehow doesn't know what the letters FDA stand for.
What do you mean FDA approved? I don't sell medical product.
Who could have expected that the Food and Drug Administration would show interest in a potentially unsafe food? No one tell her. I'm sure she'll figure it out eventually. The food that she's trying so unsuccessfully to defend here is this unholy concoction. Pink sauce. Basically, you took Pepto-Bismol and put it into a squeeze bottle. One video of her slathering some fried chicken with the stuff blew up overnight thanks to its unnatural color. Suddenly, everybody wanted to know what this thing was. And you know what? They're still wondering, despite hundreds of bottles of it being shipped out because the packaging is absolutely riddled with errors. So while everyone in digital commentary land is out here telling you all the reasons that consuming the product is dangerous, which, let me be clear, it absolutely is, you should not buy this stuff and definitely don't consume it, I'm here today to instead figure out the question that everyone seemed to skip in the process. What even is the pink sauce? And can you make it at home safely, thereby allowing you to avoid paying $20 for this sampler of salmonella? We're just going to use our noggin and everything we know about food science, which isn't a lot, to make pink sauce the safe at-home way. Yeah. All the virality of the pink sauce, minus one key ingredient, the actual viruses. In the past, we've managed to figure out KFC's secret recipes, so how hard could this possibly be? Well, off the bat, there's one key thing that separates the pink sauce from the KFC secret recipe. And that's the fact that, KFC actually has a recipe. It's consistent. It's repeatable. Meanwhile, here's the first video of the pink sauce. And here's another, and another, one more, and this is how it looks today. The color is different in literally every video posted about the stuff. For a sauce that is purely branded around its color, the color isn't even consistent. Heck, I wouldn't even call it pink anymore. Sometimes there are seeds in it, sometimes there's not. Sometimes you can see chili flakes, sometimes not. This stuff is never the same sauce twice. But I hear what you're saying. People already have the sauce. They have the label. That label has ingredients on it and nutrition information, right? Well,
I can't tell you the ingredients that I use to make it pink, but it's pink.
No, you do kind of have to tell people the ingredients. Again, that is probably why the FDA wants to have a conversation with you.
Pink sauce has only been an official product since the 1st of July. We began production. You guys are judging a prototype.
Nothing like beta testing your sketchy food product on the people who paid $20 a bottle for it. Okay, now, to be fair, the bottles she's shipping out to people do actually have themselves a label and a sticker on the back of the bottle that says nutrition information. Then again, I can literally slap a sticker that says that onto anything, and it doesn't necessarily make it true. Here's the pink sauce. If you think that nutrition
Just an
label is
accident on
going to
his
give us
life.
an
Just
accurate
bah!
picture of what's inside the bottle, well, your stomach is going to be paying for that mistake. I won't go into this too much because this is territory that's already been covered by plenty of other channels, but the label on the back of this thing is so far from correct, it's almost useless. For instance, the label says that there are 444 portions of the sauce inside of the bottle. 444. I mean, do I even need to go further than that? Have you ever seen a food product with that many servings? The highest that I've ever seen is whipped cream. That's only in the 70s. For almost any other condiment, a bottle of this size would usually contain between 30 and 40 servings based on a serving size of 1 tablespoon. And you can probably imagine that if they weren't able to get a basic number like that right, then things are really going to fall apart once they start doing actual math. Like here, where the total number of carbs doesn't equal the sum of the sugar and the fiber. It should be 15, but it's instead listed as 3. Or what about here, where there's only 1 gram of fat listed, but supposedly there's more sunflower oil than honey inside this thing based on the order of its ingredients list, and sunflower oil is pure fat. So there's a gram of sunflower oil and less than a gram of all other ingredients here per serving? I mean, I guess if each of the 400 servings is like the size of a raindrop, then sure, checks out. There are also very few ingredients here that could provide shelf stability to the product, which is a big concern when you have a sizable amount of garlic and pitaya, both products that are perishable. It's also notable that this sauce, in every video, and every different shade of pink, always appears as a creamy sauce. It's opaque, and it has a similar consistency to honey mustard, ranch, or mayonnaise. And yet, the ingredients list on the package contains nothing that would create a sauce that looks like this. There's no mention of dairy or egg products to be found that could serve as a binding agent that would give it this creamy consistency. Also, there's an ingredient here named vinegar. We actually had to get this. Whatever flavor the moment calls for, there's a
I forgot who I was for a moment.
the flavor of the fighting spirit.
What is this place?
I'm spring friend. What station is this?
Only welcome.
Irish Spring. Smell from a nice smelling place.
Imported.
Yeah.
Some backwoods shed.
Really specialty ingredient.
See what I mean? It just completely breaks down. At the end of
Milk.
the day, this isn't an ingredients list, it's a word scramble. So, in our attempt to uncover the real pink sauce, we're first going to make our best attempt based on reverse engineering the nutrition label here. And be aware, I use the heaviest of quotes when I say that. If we don't come out with something that looks like or tastes like the pink sauce, we're going to modify the recipe as little as possible to achieve something that looks and tastes closer to how online reviewers have described it.
Can you compare it to anything?
Also, just as a side note, no one even likes this stuff. On her TikTok page, Chef P keeps uploading videos where she forces the sauce onto people, and then everyone's just too polite to say anything negative about it.
The sauce is delicious.
Says the woman who practically refuses to try it herself. Blink twice if you're being held here against your will. She says, even before she tastes it, and then she refuses to look at the camera. Yep, you saw the caption. Reviews are coming in, and they are bad.
But this stuff is delicious, and I don't know what it tastes like.
You don't know what it tastes like, huh? Well, that, my very uncomfortably scripted friend, is what we aim to find out today. So let's try making the sauce using the listed ingredients and nutritional facts to figure out the quantity.
We're going to be attempting to make the sauce as
Winner by knockout
they're sort of
and
written
moving
out
on
in
to the
the
finals.
ingredients and the nutrition information on the back of the actual pink sauce bottle. We'll explain in the video why we couldn't exactly suss out a recipe, but we did the best we could.
Sauce.
This recipe is pretty sus.
Now we're legally obligated to also make a venting reference. Vent! Here I am! This is me venting! Vent!
Oh, I see it. Oh, there's a vent on the floor.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of venting, Gregory?
Back to the future.
In order to make a decent-sized quantity that we can test on a number of foods, we blended up 10 servings. So each part of the nutritional facts is going to be multiplied by 10 as well. Starting with the sugar, there are 11 grams of sugar per serving, and only 2 listed ingredients that have sugar content: honey and dragon fruit.
Nice. Oh, well, this is really serious.
It is a very serious night. Brought to you by my friend
Andrew. Thanks, Andrew.
There you go. Speaking of quality merchandise, wow.
It shows the 2 battle beef. It's gonna end by the guy taking knees, so many knees to the head, he has like a brain concussion. Mm-hmm.
So each part of the nutritional facts is going to be multiplied by 10 as well. Starting with the sugar, there are 11 grams of sugar per serving, and only 2 listed ingredients that have sugar content: honey and dragon fruit.
Knife? Oh, well, this is really serious.
It is a very serious knife, brought to you by our friend
Andrew. Thanks, Andrew.
There you go. Speaking of quality merchandise, wow, thanks for commenting on my... amazing shirt set.
Oh my gosh, your shirt is amazing.
Wow, which is available right below this video. Quality game theory merch.
This one's right. I'll see how you are. You just have to say that you're fine and you're not. This one's gonna be red.
Look, it's like a loot box. Which one are we gonna get today? Here we go.
Come on, red. Come on.
Yes!
Woo!
Red dragon fruit. We used 122 grams of honey, giving us 100 grams of sugar, and 130 grams of dragon fruit, giving us an additional 10 grams of sugar, thereby amounting to 110 grams total. Just call us Chef P. Chef P as in Patrick.
Chef P as in precision.
Chef P as in pretty cool.
I think we should keep moving on with the recipe now.
Okay. Next up, we needed 40 grams.
This is a pranking question. No, I'm clue. Damn.
Of fiber. We already have 4 from the honey and dragon fruit, so we still need 36. The only other ingredient on the list that contains any fiber is the garlic, which has 0.2 grams per garlic, so we just need to add 180 cloves? Oh, jeez. This is already starting to break down. I'm not putting that much garlic in here, so we'll just do the rest of the recipe and see how it goes. The rest of the ingredients are distilled vinegar, water, Himalayan salt, and sunflower seed oil before we get to the less than 2% ingredients. If we go by the 1 gram of fat per serving, then that means there's only 1 gram of sunflower oil in there. That's pure fat, so that's 10 grams of oil. Though watching the video of Chef P making the sauce, we seem to disagree on the amount of oil there, P, but I'm going to continue going by the numbers that you have listed on your official nutrition label. Anyway, we did the same for vinegar and water and about 3 grams of Himalayan salt based on the sodium listed in the nutrition facts. Finally, the less than 2% of ingredients, we added 6 grams of spices, which were chili flakes and onion powder, 5 grams of citric acid, a small splash of milk, and lemon juice. After all of that, we were still missing a massive amount of fiber. For the sake of our taste buds and Raleigh, North Carolina's garlic supply, I just added 2 cloves and called it a day. Then we blended it all up and hoped for the best. It's worth pointing out that, again, the ingredients are supposed to be listed by the amount used proportionally on the recipe. Our order came out very differently, but in truth, it's just not possible to satisfy these nutritional requirements with the ingredients as they're currently written out. We're getting ready to blend. We'll get a sense of what color this actually is. Also, before I try this stuff, you've gotta subscribe. I'm putting my life on the line for you. Look at this. This is disgusting, but I'm testing it for science and for your enjoyment. So if that's not worth a hit of that subscribe button, I don't know what is. Subscribing is free. A stark contrast from the amount of medical attention I'm gonna need after this episode. At first glance, one thing was certain. This was not the sauce that Chef P is using. The color is purple, not the Kirby pink that we were hoping for. Dragon fruit, while it provides color, is a watery fruit and left us with a runny broth, not a finger-licking sauce. So, not a great start visually, but remember, flavor-wise, we're looking for something that's close to a sweet ranch. And, wow, that is a trip for your taste buds.
Oh man.
It is sweet on the front end. It is garlicky throughout.
I'm not a squeamish or picky person. I do not enjoy that flavor.
It sort of had that going for it if you squint really hard, but it lacked any kind of creaminess. Because again, it has no binding agent or ingredient that creates a sticky, creamy texture. I gotta admit, so far, Chef P is failing her mission to, as the bottle says, excite my taste buds and thrill me with their creativity. The only thing creative about all this is their creative interpretation of the meaning of numbers. So, in order to try and get a creamier texture with a color that better resembled pink sauce, I went rogue and took 2 different approaches. First, I added some mayonnaise to the mixture that we already made. Why mayo? Well, you see this right here, sitting next to Chef P in this video?
a featherweight matchup between the Ghost and the Chosen.
That we already made. Why mayo? Well, you see this right here sitting next to Chef P in this video? I mean, what is that ingredient? It's white and it's viscous, which honestly doesn't apply to any other ingredient in the sauce. It's not mashed garlic, because you can see the garlic cloves floating there in the literal vat of oil that you created in Blender. In fact, I suspect that mayo may be acting as more than just an ingredient. You notice the yellow cap squeeze bottles that the pink sauce comes packaged in? Why wouldn't your pink sauce have, I don't know, a pink lid? Yellow is nowhere to be found in her brand, unless your main ingredient is mayonnaise and you happen to have it.
The Ghost, looking for a big victory tonight. He is pumped up and ready to go.
Have a ton of these yellow-capped bottles just sitting around. Repurpose the old mayo bottles, wipe off the labels, boom! You've got yourself a brand new product. Anyway, I figured the mayo would help build a nice, stable creaminess where it's lacking right now. It tasted...
I definitely taste the vinegar. I definitely taste the garlic. And I get a little bit of the honey, but not really very much.
For the other approach, I got serious. I knew that we were looking for a sweet ranch flavor, so why not just cut to the chase? I mixed our buddy, Hidden Valley Ranch, hashtag not spawn, and the dragon fruit together. So, our sauces are all mixed up. Now it's just time for the taste test.
So on this side we have our ranch, which has all of the great seasonings and spices, garlic, vinegar. It's got everything already in there. So all we did was add fruit. And basically we've got some nice fruity ranch.
So really this is ranch plus dragon fruit.
Yes, ranch plus dragon fruit, that's it.
Right.
On this side, added our whole mixture to it. So in this one, our fruit mixture has the vinegar and the honey and the salt and the garlic and all of that. So we came to a similar color and consistency on both sides.
I was going to say, from a coloring standpoint, this is pretty much the quintessential pink sauce.
And from a texture standpoint, it seems to be about what we see on TikTok.
Yeah, ranch. Ranch.
Oh my god, that just tastes like ranch. You can't taste any of the fruit. You see the pink, but you don't taste anything remotely pink. It tastes like ranch, which is lovely. Who wouldn't like ranch?
Honestly, everyone's making a big deal about, like, no, why does it cost $20 for one of these bottles? Because she's buying this, plus like a $5 fruit. The dragon fruit's expensive.
They are. They're really expensive.
Each one's $5. You gotta charge a lot for that.
Yeah. Okay, ready? We're gonna go for the mayo plus mixture.
Man, that right eye has really started to swell.
I kind of liked it.
It's pretty good.
I'm ashamed of myself right now.
It's a sweet mayo. It's mayo with kick.
You definitely still don't taste the dragon fruit in either one.
Absolutely.
So the main ingredient in both of these is the mayo and the ranch. The other stuff is just seasonings, and then the color. Yeah, I mean the only thing that this dragon fruit is even doing is just color. That's nothing else. So what I think we need to do is actually combine these two guys to get the final pink sauce.
And then we'll dump some chicken.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Do you know where things are?
I do.
It's your kitchen,
I
man.
do, but I'm on camera and I choked on the pressure.
Oh, that's it. That's it. Sweet ranch.
So this is it. Homemade pink sauce, plus you can refrigerate it at home.
Hey!
It's a big win. That way you can get a viral video without the virus. Only one thing left to do. Chicken test.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Acceptable! What is the pink sauce? Well, we can say for certain that it's not what's listed on the label. Very clearly, there's a major thickening or binding agent that's in this sauce that's just outright missing from the labeling. From here, we have to enter into the realm of speculation, but having spent the last week testing the sauce and zooming and enhancing every video of it I can find, I believe the actual recipe for the sauce is a combination of both of our tests. If it tastes like sweet ranch, Occam's razor, folks, it may just be full of ranch.
Next time on Food Theory.
Wow, is this your spaceship?
It's a box.
Yes, they do. I should know. I used to be in one. I would go and fly around the universe. Yeah, but I was 3. I still do that. You give me a big box, I live in it for a few minutes, and then I'm like, I'm hungry, and then I walk out.
Click now to learn about our online degree programs. Find your purpose at TCU.
So, has anyone actually actually ever figured out Colonel Sanders' secret recipe blend of 11 herbs and spices? Dozens upon dozens of individuals claim to have solved the world-renowned mystery, but which of them, if any, should we believe? Should we believe the Colonel's own nephew, who used to mix the spices himself when he was a child? The scientist who chemically analyzed KFC's ingredients in a laboratory? Or should we believe KFC, the multinational corporation that has nothing to gain and everything to lose by the recipe becoming public knowledge, who claims to this very day, quote, "No one's ever been right"? Well, never fear, theorists, because today's food theory will answer it all. We're putting the most legitimate contenders to the test, as well as our own. Spoiler alert, I think we've got it. Hey guys, welcome to Food Theory, where today we're doing something very scary, actually cooking.
Cooking food, oh my gosh.
And not just cooking any food, we are cooking perhaps one of the best kept secret foods in all of history, Colonel Sanders' secret recipe.
Yes. What do you think the secret is, Matthew?
I think the secret is love.
Oh man, and here I was thinking it was just like little clippings of his beard that had fallen into the chicken batter.
So I think everyone can agree that KFC's 11 infamous herbs and spices are one of the most renowned secret recipes in food history. And we've found a lot of different recipes that say that they've cracked the code. And today we're going to put them to the test.
Yeah, so we have 5 different dupe recipes that we're going to be trying today. Some of them are crowdsourced, some of them come from food scientists,
and some of them even come from Colonel Sanders himself. Ooh, question mark.
So let's get going.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover today, and a lot of chicken that needs to be fried, so let's stop throwing our bowls around and start cooking. As we throw our bowls in the ring, it's important to keep in mind that recreating KFC's original recipe is a bit like hitting a moving target. People have been trying to get the recipe right since before I was born, and during that time, the taste of KFC's chicken has changed to a certain degree. The secret 11 herbs and spices almost certainly haven't, but we know for a fact that KFC has tweaked other aspects of the recipe and preparation process, like adopting new frying oils that contain fewer trans fats. Even the late Colonel Sanders believed his recipe was altered to a noticeable degree during his own lifetime. Shortly after selling Kentucky Fried Chicken in 1964, he began voicing displeasure about perceived recipe changes being made under KFC's new ownership. As a result, some of the recipe contenders we're looking at today seek to recreate the Colonel's true original recipe before KFC corporate took over. Other recipe contenders seek to recreate the taste of KFC's original recipe the way we've come to know and love it in more recent decades. In recent years, KFC has adopted soybean oil as its frying oil of choice in many locations, especially here in the US. Since we'll be comparing our recipe contenders against contemporary KFC chicken fried in soybean oil, we're gonna fry all of our contender recipes in soybean oil too. Last thing I'll mention, it's well known that KFC fries their chicken in pressure fryers, which not only fry the chicken faster, but also give KFC's fried chicken its distinct extra crispy texture. Sadly, I didn't have one of those in the kitchen, so today's contender recipes are gonna have to settle for the deep fryer. Steph and I promise to judge them not on texture, but taste, and taste alone. And also, to be fair, our chicken totally turned out crispier. Just saying. Now, without further ado, let's put our first contender to the test. This recipe was developed by author and TV host Todd Wilbur.
So Todd Wilbur, for those who don't know, is actually famous for recreating famous recipes. He's done the Big Mac, he's done Wendy's chili, he's done a whole bunch of secret famous recipes that you shouldn't technically be able to make at home, including the KFC original recipe.
Do you really need someone to recreate the Big Mac? The commercials tell you what's in it. 2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun.
Well, there's a special sauce.
Special sauce.
Special sauce. What's that?
Isn't it just Thousand Island dressing?
What? He's also done Mrs. Fields cookies. Anyway, I thought that was interesting.
That does sound delicious.
I know.
I love this man. Why? Can we hire him? I feel like this is a person who should be on this channel.
He's already a best-selling author who's been on, like, every major talk show. He doesn't need us.
But has he been on YouTube before? We can poorly animate a stick figure of him for years.
That does sound like a high-value proposition. We should call him.
We should. Call us up, Todd Wilbur.
Well, let's see how his recipe works out first and then decide.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Good point. Now, the reason we're starting with this recipe is because Todd Wilbur, on top of being a guy who's talented enough to have made a career out of hacking recipes, really seems to have done the legwork to get the recipe right. In 2011, Wilbur's TV show, Top Secret Recipes, visited KFC's pressure fryer supplier, and Wilbur spoke with a friend and business associate who knew the Colonel personally.
Nutella cherry, Nutella cherry pepper. That gives it the texture.
This, of course, was on top of Wilbur's own research and trial and error efforts. But perhaps the most useful thing of all is the fact that Wilbur's findings were adapted into a full-blown step-by-step recipe. The same cannot be said for certain other contender recipes in today's episode. Seriously, some of them are basically a list of ingredients without quantities or anything.
Fun fact, this ingredient is completely verboten in our household. Stephanie had a traumatic experience as a kid with black pepper.
Completely banned.
So this is actually the first black pepper that I've had in over a decade. Because I've been married to Stephanie.
It's true.
Pretty much.
Not even on salad or pasta.
Nothing.
Not even in soup. We just don't use black pepper here.
Nothing. Sir, say when.
When?
Remember, sir, you can say when.
When? When?
When the brining, dredging, breading, and frying were finally complete, it was time to put Todd Wilbur's recipe head-to-head against KFC's original.
Should we do KFC first? It's delicious.
Virgo.
I definitely get some of the pepperiness. I definitely get some sort of aromatic something in there. But I don't really know what it is. And salt.
It's funny. For 11 herbs and spices in there, not getting a lot.
I'm mostly just tasting pepper, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm getting pepper.
Yeah.
I get the pepper on the back end. I'm
All
not getting a big spice mix. Interesting.
Let's
All right.
taste Todd.
Todd.
Shall we?
Here we go.
All right, here we go,
This
Todd.
is the man who literally wrote the book on secret recipes.
I'm counting on you. Oh, you made great fried chicken.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, first impression. Our fried chicken is great. Good job, Steph.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I'm so happy
This
right
is
now.
great.
Wow. The flavor is the thing that matters. I actually am not getting as much pepper in this one as I did from KFC. I like it a bit better, to be honest, but I think that KFC has a different flavor than this.
Yes. I'm not getting any of that like black pepperiness that I'm feeling at the back end of the KFC. In a scale of 1 to 10, matching KFC, what would you rate Todd Wilbur's?
I would actually only rate this about a 6. Sorry, Todd.
Real 6? That's pretty high. I would rate it at probably about a 4.
Wow. Okay, you're really dipping in there.
I gotta have.
We know your relationship with the internet can be complicated. It's not always clear if you're safe or your
I
data
ain't got
is
no
private.
relationships.
Have somewhere to go. This is my first one. Maybe I'm artificially rating it too low.
I tried to aim for the middle, so I had room on either side.
Now on to recipe contender number 2, which isn't exactly a recipe per se. It's actually a lab result, published by author William Poundstone in his 1983 book, Big Secrets. That's right, this guy had a laboratory conduct a qualitative analysis on a sample of KFC coating mix in order to identify every ingredient that's present. What's noteworthy about Poundstone's findings was that the lab didn't find 11 herbs and spices. Not even close. In fact, the lab results identified just 4 ingredients total: flour, salt, black pepper, and MSG. Yeah, Poundstone verified that the seasoning mixture he tested was the only seasoning involved in the preparation process. No, there was no additional substance found in the entire sample, not a single grain. And yes, the lab was able to identify every single ingredient present in the sample. So according to Big Secrets, there are just 3 seasoning ingredients mixed into KFC's breading flour. That is a far cry from the 11 herbs and spices, especially considering that salt and MSG aren't technically herbs or spices at all.
Steph, I know that one of the things that you and I have always talked about with food theory is that we've wanted the ability to analyze recipes in a lab setting.
Oh my gosh, I want to send everything through a mass spectrometer.
Yeah, if any of you have access to a mass spectrometer, hit us up. We want to actually tap into the secret recipe of Diet Coke and other things. We promise we'll give your institution a shout out. So if there are any universities out there that need some shameless self-promotion, we are here to be shameless for you.
She knows how to use a mass spectrometer.
I can use it safely, I promise.
Now, preparing fried chicken a la Poundstone was way more challenging than preparing Todd Wilbur's recipe. What the laboratory of qualitative analysis and big secrets did supply were proportions. The lab was asked to identify all ingredients present in the sample, but they were not asked to determine the quantities of those ingredients. So Steph and I were kind of on our own to determine the correct amounts of each seasoning ingredient. We made an educated guess by borrowing ideas from similar recipes, but still, Poundstone really left us hanging here. This is how much I love Stephanie. I'm not making her touch
My nice wall that had no holes in it. It's got holes in it.
Yeah.
What?
Those.
Did you poke holes in my wall?
And those are in them. And also, I'm pretty sure having thumbtacks in a wall is safer than them being on something where they can fall on the ground and then someone steps on them. Or literal nails.
the black pepper at all.
That is nice.
This is my gift to you, Stephanie.
I appreciate you.
Today is the day food theory graduates into becoming a chef. Aw, food theory, you're growing up into a legitimate recipe.
Andrew, from Binging with Babish, we're coming for you.
Binging with Babish.
Not at all.
Watch out, here comes food theory. He's not afraid.
No, not even.
I'm afraid just thinking of him. Eventually, I got over my fear and got back to work. After refamiliarizing ourselves with KFC's original recipe, Steph and I bit into our William Poundstone-inspired fried chicken, and you see the rest.
From an accuracy standpoint?
Yeah, from an accuracy standpoint, 1 to 10.
Accuracy rating, mine is a 4 or 5, honestly.
Wow, less?
Yeah, I think it's less.
I was going to say mine is still a 4. It is about the same level of accurate. You got that saltiness in there, but...
This thing isn't all the way in.
To be fair, Poundstone's laboratory test was performed nearly 40 years ago. KFC's original recipe may have changed slightly since then. Also, Steph and I probably guessed a bit wrong on the ingredient proportions, but hey, it's kind of our own Poundstone. Next up, the fried chicken seasoning that sounds like it was someone's handle in a game of laser tag, 99X. This one's actually my best. So, Colonel Sanders apparently was so disappointed in the KFC Corporation watering down his recipe or instructions that they were giving out to franchisees of the day that he went to an external company, very spicy, and said, hey, make this spice recipe, and then he encouraged all the people in his recipe to know this spice recipe.
Yeah, it's actually here. It's bottled. You can buy it to this day.
Yeah, you can buy it, but it has to go by the 99X because the KFC Corporation got into a lawsuit with these guys and basically be like, hey, stop it. No, get out of here.
Which maybe meant that they were on the right track.
No,
I feel like this is as promised.
personally, I think that this is the one that is going to knock it out of the ballpark. It also just solidifies Harlan's reputation as like difficult guy to work with. Here, I'm going to sell my company to this larger company. I'm going to try to undermine them because I'm not having to work with them. So
Yeah, I really like that one. I would recommend that recipe above the other two, partially because it's so much easier. There's just buy one ingredient and you're kind of done. And then you know, great. This one is also super easy to get started out there. So what you guys love
Now, the story behind our next recipe contender also seems really promising. In 2016, the food world got rocked by an article in the Chicago Tribune. Joe Biden, the nephew of Colonel Sanders himself, came forward with
Grab this. Put this in. Put it in. Put it back in here. Not the whiteboard. Where's the two wherever? Somehow this is this one. So that we're trying to set up a whiteboard. Okay, so grab this. Okay, I'll grab you. Now the first so this is okay, one. We can make sure the hammer nail will stay in. Yeah, no. They go. That stuff. Okay, now then,
this handwritten recipe found in an old scrapbook passed down to it from his aunt Claudia Weiss, who was Arlen Sanders' second wife. While the note is not written in the Colonel's handwriting, Joe claims it contains the correct ingredients and proportions for the Colonel's secret blend. And Joe should know he actually worked at Arlen's diner when he was a kid and claims to have even mixed the blend herbs and spices himself. Now, Joe tested this recipe themselves and determined that the capital T's on the recipe referred to tablespoons, not teaspoons. They claim the recipe tasted quite similar to KFC's original recipe as written, but when they took the liberty of adding MSG, the recipe became, quote, virtually indistinguishable. So we took their word for it on both fronts. We went with tablespoons and we added MSG. The Chicago Tribune also compared their chicken with a buttermilk egg bath instead of the skim milk egg bath that we've been using thus far. Since their follow their steps to the letter. This is a lot of seasoning relative to all the other recipes we have. This is a lot.
The ratio of flour to seasoning is much different.
This is going to be really spicy chicken. Wow. This is so vastly different from all the other recipes we've done so far.
It's literally a completely different color than all the other chicken. It's wild. It's red, it's yellow, it's brown. You can actually see the seasoning in there. I'm most excited about this one.
Me too. This one's going to be good. The recipe calls for 4 tablespoons of paprika, which makes for a much darker breading than we found in previous recipes. I promise that color is not from standing in the fryer. It's staying in the fryer the exact same length as every other one of these tested. And also, the breading had a really nice consistency when it hit our mouths.
Happy? Here's what I'm going to say about this. Yeah. You'll want to not have it. But roll up here in North Carolina, I was looking for those like mom and
There you go.
serve like mom and pop fried chicken.
Sure.
It looks like it's like here, and it would be more similar to this than
Interesting.
so this feels to me like a southern style mom and pop recipe.
The weird thing about this one is, and the thing that I don't quite understand, I feel like it's had more flavor than it does. It looks like it's saturated with spice and flavor. You saw the amount of spice and flavor that went into that mix. And I bite it, and there's not a whole lot of flavor there.
The buttermilk have made it super juicy. I will say
Yeah, it's super juicy. The meat is actually delicious, but definitely not KFC. On a scale of 1 to 10, does it match KFC? It's like,
it's like a 3.
it's like 2.
Yeah.
Because I was rating it at 4. Yeah. That one's much, much better.
I can't believe these results. Actually, I'm shocked.
Now, it's important to keep in mind that if this recipe is indeed authentic, the 1950s or even 40s, when the Colonel was still developing the recipe, it could be an example of the Colonel's true OG recipe the way he intended it, before KFC corporate got their finger-licking fingers in the mix. So the fact that it doesn't match the look or taste of contemporary KFC chicken should be taken with a grain of MSG. Something similar could also be said for our next recipe, known as TC34D. It also seeks to recreate the Colonel's OG recipe, as opposed to the fried chicken sold by KFC corporate today. But what you need to understand about TC34D is that it's a recipe meticulously, and I do mean meticulously, crafted by the internet hive mind. And there is a secret: the internet will find it and tear it apart and solve it. And so you had a group of devoted KFC fans trying to actually solve the Colonel's secret recipe. And these guys weren't just content in solving it, they were getting down to the level of finding where in the world geographically these ingredients were coming from. I mean, just take a look at this recipe. It's not enough to add 5/16 teaspoons of ginger. They're asking you to find ginger specifically from Jamaica because the flavor profile is ever so slightly more accurate. Ready to add 0.020 grams of cardamom? Better make sure it's Guatemalan first. Definitely wasn't easy to find all these ingredients, even with Google's help. Couldn't help but wonder if Colonel Sanders really gave a hoot whether or not his white pepper was from Malaysia back when he was crafting his recipe out of a gas station. But hey, I'm not gonna knock it until I've tried this amazingly detailed recipe for myself. TC34D is believed to be a product of the now defunct internet forum kfc.forumup.co.uk, which is inactive today because members believe that they cracked the recipe a while ago. For years, this dedicated group of internet sleuths used any and all information available to them to crack the Colonel's recipe. That meant adjusting the recipes through trial and error in their kitchens and soaking up every scrap of information available to them. For instance, this photo, released by KFC, shows the 11 herbs and spices kept in the vault at KFC's headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky. The forum members absolutely picked this photo apart and made sure that their 11 herbs and spices matched the coloring of the vials in the picture. Notice those letters next to each ingredient in the TC34D recipe? Those refer to the corresponding lettered vials. Finally, as you might deduce from the titling method used for these recipes, TC34D is hardly the only one that these forum members came up with. It just happens to be the one that's the most famous, but there's certainly not unanimous consent that it's the most accurate. There are dozens of other recipes worthy of consideration, developed in these forums and otherwise, that we simply don't have the time to test in today's episode. Now then, how excited are we to try the crowdsourced recipe that harnesses the power of the entire internet? Approximately this excited.
Beautiful KO for the victory early in the first.
Folks, this recipe calls for Tahitian vanilla bean. How could you not be excited about this? So after tasting KFC's original recipe, we took a bite out of TC34D.
This is the shot that drops him. Perfect technique. He's clearly in big trouble. Let's take a look at it one more time. Here's the knockdown. Vicious strike. Great angle here. Boom! And then he's out.
I know what tasty actually, there's a very different method. Oh, yeah.
Bruce Buffer with the official decision.
You guys, you were so good, like, you got to make it one
1 minute, 10 seconds of the 31st round. Declaring the winner.
Winner by knockout.
Last up to 72
Yeah,
hours.
what's up, Matthew Cathy from last time?
So you might need a recharge before it does. Google Pixel 6a.
Yeah, this guy.
Buy Pixel 6a and get up to
Good
$300
man, Matthew
back.
Cathy.
When I first started Eve, I was a minor, and I was really tired of getting.
I want to see down here, right? That was like a combo breaker.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the matching for KFC?
He kicked me in the heart.
Right, like it was one.
He was, instead of being rushed to the hospital, told to stand up and shake hands. Then gets rushed to the hospital for taking a kick straight to the heart.
Yeah, the group thing was not really working. I would say maybe it's a 2, maybe it's a 1. It's low. The sweetness is the thing that.
The vanilla, what are you doing in there?
The vanilla really threw it off.
Now, it bears repeating that TC34D's aim was attempting to recreate the Colonel's personal, pre-corporate version of the secret recipe, so the goal of the recipe wasn't so much to match the taste of the contemporary KFC chicken, but I gotta say, the taste of TC34D was just so different. Not bad, it was really tasty, but it just didn't seem related to KFC's original recipe fried chicken in any discernible way. Tahitian vanilla is really sweet, and that sweetness really came through the recipe in a way that didn't really match my expectation of what southern fried chicken usually tastes like.
So at least this was a very clear winner. In terms of the matching potential, the 99X very clearly took it by a wide margin.
So does that actually solve the problem? As the only problem here, right, is that it is a secret recipe, and we've solved that secret recipe using a secret spice.
Malden. Damn.
I'm gonna risk it all on this one. Oh my god, I'm dead. Nice stomach trigger. Holy moly, that's a dime. Not missing a single cent. I love you, Carol. Apparently there's an old episode of Sesame Street that hasn't re-aired for decades because it was too frightening for children. In 1976, the beloved children's show Sesame Street did something unexpected. They released an episode that became so controversial that it has been shelved ever since. Its overwhelming backlash led to it being locked away and supposedly banned for over 40 years. But then, miraculously, in 2022, the episode mysteriously and quietly appeared online. And it wasn't a shoddy leak recorded from the phone. It was the entire episode. How did this happen? It's important. I want to take a quick moment for
In an effort to teach their young viewers valuable lessons, the show has had plenty of special guests on its program, like Ryan Reynolds, John Legend, Jack Black, and countless others. One of their most infamous, however, was the late Margaret Hamilton, the actress.
Hello.
Hi, would you like a burger?
Yes.
Come here.
Okay.
Played the Wicked Witch of the West in 1939's The Wizard of Oz.
And as for you, my fine lady, oh, I can't give you very out I'd like it, but just try and stay out of my way. Just try. I'll let you ride for me, little dog, too.
As a former kindergarten teacher herself, Hamilton agreed to appear as the witch for a 7th season episode. Quote, I see no reason why learning shouldn't be fun, and Sesame Street demonstrates that it can be a very happy experience. So, after 30 years, Hamilton reprised her iconic role and paid a visit to Sesame Street. The episode aired on February 10, 1976. The episode was reported in a press release to teach about, quote, the emotion of fear and planning. It starts with Hamilton as the Wicked Witch, losing her broom in Sesame Street. The broom falls in the hands of cucumber David, who refuses to return it, fearing the havoc it might cause. The witch threatens to turn Big Bird into a feather duster and make it rain inside Hoover's store, but her threats are futile. The witch spends the rest of the episode trying to get her broom back, and even disguises herself as a regular old woman. At one point, Oscar the Grouch falls for her, and Big Bird grows to like her. By the end, she reclaims her broom and flies away, before humorously dropping it again. Now, immediately after the episode aired, Sesame Workshop was inundated with letters from angry parents. One letter states, "The witch that visits your program truly frightens my daughter. This particular character has been criticized by 3 different fellow parents." Another writes, "I wish you wouldn't put that witch on Sesame Street anymore, because I dream about that witch at bedtime." Yet another letter states, "My 3.5-year-old son has been very disturbed and frightened by the witch episode." Children were apparently terrified of the program, and these letters painted the segment as literal nightmare fuel, or the work of Satanism, and it all centered on Margaret Hamilton as the Wicked Witch. Contrary to popular belief, the episode did not air just once. Based on Sesame Street's schedule at the time, episodes usually aired twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. And one parent's letter suggests that it re-aired on the 29th as well. According to the CTW archives, the episode's overwhelming negative reception prompted Sesame Street's research team to conduct more test screenings. The screenings were held between March 1st and March 5th, 1976, and included a test audience of 26 children. They found that the children were, quote, exceptionally attentive during the segments featuring the witch, but not frightened. Quote, whenever the witch appeared on the screen, all conversation ceased. and the youngsters became completely motionless and attentive to the segment. The data collected was largely inconclusive. The children had mixed feelings about the witch's presence, and most were happy about her departure. Quote, when asked if the kids on the set were afraid, the responses were half negative and half affirmative. Since children identify more with the kids on the show than with other cast members, it was expected that this last question would be a key to their feelings. But the data obtained are not conclusive enough to be used in determining if the children were indeed afraid. This conclusion, coupled with the angry letters, was enough to convince Sesame Workshop to deem the episode unsafe for children. Thus, it ceased airing on television and was never released on any form of home media. Quote, due to the parents' reactions, the content on their letters, and our impressions from the group observation data, we suggest that the Margaret Hamilton show
Alright, now we're using the heavy bag today with kicks and knees. Perfect. Bend that bag. Nice work. Beautiful.
A special treat. A very fine actress.
Excellent job. Way to plant on that.
Her name is Margaret
That's
Hamilton.
it.
It's picture of her.
Here we go. Good stance.
Margaret Hamilton,
Keep pushing. Come on, man. You're wasting time here. Let's get it tight.
being an advocate for
That's the
children and
one.
education
Oh,
herself.
man, that's awesome.
Around
That's what I'm talking
she
about.
appeared on 3 episodes of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. The third one, 1459, aired just 9 days after the Sesame Street incident. Fred Rogers invited Hamilton onto his program to discuss her role, and she even puts on her witch costume. Rogers wanted to show his young viewers that the witch was just pretend, and nothing to be afraid of.
You know, witches are like make-believe. They're pretend.
All right, buddy. Kicks and knees only today.
When you see witches on television, or in the movies, or read about witches in books, they're always pretend. When you're growing up, it's an important thing to be able to tell the difference between what's pretend and what's real.
Despite their efforts, the Sesame Street episode remained locked away after only a few airings. Margaret Hamilton continued acting and making guest appearances as the witch up until her death in 1985.
Ja tak czuję przerwę.
Who is your favorite creators? I actually can't wait. Whoa, in a live game.
By the turn of the century, episode 847 was seldomly talked about, almost becoming something of an urban legend. There were a few early threads on the fan-made site of It's Central, but they mainly consisted of people's questions and loose recollections of the episode. I need someone to set the record straight. Did Margaret Hamilton make a guest appearance on Sesame Street and reprise a role as some sort of wicked witch, like in The Wizard of Oz? I remember this episode spinning the daily night, especially the thought of the witch turning Big Bird into a feather duster. In one response, it was even mentioned that Carl Stinney, the actor who played Big Bird, supposedly recalled this as his favorite episode. But the search hadn't really begun. So today, 2000. At this point, only 2 extras and a newspaper stamp were available online. The episode's obscurity often helped Central use their great creative bread on the forums.
This whole thing started because I saw an Instagram post. It was like one of those like corny like Instagram pages that was like a scary fact or something. It was like one time Sesame Street made an episode so scary out and showed it. And I was like, I was interested, so I looked it up and there was like almost nothing on it except like the Muppet Wiki page. So I was like, why isn't anybody, looking at this up and stuff like that? So I made the thread, and my first post, I kind of overhyped it, I'm not gonna lie, but, that was really like the start of the search.
This thread inspired much discussion and speculation about the episode's whereabouts. Was it locked away for being too frightening? Or maybe was there a copyright issue concerning the Wicked Witch of the West? Perhaps Margaret Hamilton's estates prevented the episode's release. Whatever the reason, that did not stop user Blue Froggle from emailing Sesame Workshop directly, but he received, quote, no response. He believes Sesame Workshop feared that releasing the episode would tarnish its reputation, but this was just a guess. What we do know is that Gravy decided to contact Carol Spinney. A letter was sent, and the search continued.
I was like trying to scavenge like every place, every person I could find, I could contact that, might have it. And I was like, this guy, he said it was his favorite episode, and who else, better to contact? So obviously I decided to contact him on one of those, like old fan mail websites where it shows you like the address of a celebrity that haven't been updated since like the 2000s. And I tried my luck, and I sent it out, no response. So a couple months later, I tried to send it again. I'm pretty sure one of those times my letter got stolen. I have no clue why, but either way I didn't receive a response. And I just figured, after the second time, there was no point.
A year passed by without much development. A few backstage photos, including some featuring Margaret Hamilton, were found. But Carol Spinney, nor Sesame Workshop, ever responded. However, on July 30th, 2017, a breakthrough in the search was made. The user named Nightshade contacted Craig Shimon, the president of the Jim Henson Legacy, who he was friends with. Craig confirmed that the episode was removed for being too frightening, and that he, quote, might try to see if they're willing to do a screening of Lost Sesame stuff. This was good news. It confirmed the episode's existence, and that Sesame Workshop did own a copy, which was all up to debate until now. In a private screening of the episode, as there's like chance for a child to watch it.
Later on, I learned Nightshade and Greg were buddies. They went to stuff like that. So I was like, okay. 40-something years that this show's been on, you don't know what's alive. So I was excited to hear that it existed at all, possibly other at all. So he was definitely looking forward.
Early in the first.
Another year had passed, and Gravy decided to visit the Children's Television Workshop at the University of Maryland. In search of more documentation about episode 847.
Perfect technique.
He's
clearly hurt badly here. Let's take a look at it one more time. Here's the knockdown.
Gravy also encountered
Vicious
an
strike.
episode guide for season 7 of Sesame Street.
Check out this
However,
angle here.
quote, it seems as if you're 846 and 847.
Perfectly.
So I was looking through the season 7 folder for all the guys and all that.
With the official decision.
And I was looking through, and I saw that 847 was missing. I mean, along with 846, but I'm sure that was added. But I found it interesting that this episode that stirred up a lot of talk inside the workshop, they kept the guide out of it, maybe it was because past that point they were giving, episode highlights out. Anyway, I have no clue why I was missing. It's just not. And that was off-putting, because I kept flipping through. I was like, maybe it's just misplaced. It was not in the moment. And that was a little strange to me.
Hey, man.
Hey, Brandon.
How's it going?
It's going pretty well. Oh. You want to know something I found out by me getting told by Isabel?
Yeah?
I'm in 2 classes with Elijah.
Dang it, I'm actually a little bit jealous right now because nearly all my classes I have never seen any of you or anyone else from last year, and I'm just like, I'm alone.
Dang. Brian, wanna know something funny?
Yeah?
I had 2 of the same class today, one for 4th period and one for 6th. I joined the 6th period one, and you wanna know who was in it?
Who?
Isabella.
Dang.
So if my E&G teacher gets rid of the 4th period one and keeps the 6th, then that means I'm in 2 classes with Elijah and 2 classes with Isabella.
Yeah.
Oh, Brandon.
Yeah?
You wanna know something funny?
What?
Somehow, out of half the things that could have happened in my UFC2 game, for my character's first fight in the UFC after the Ultimate Fighter, he throws a spinning kick after taking an uppercut and gets kicked straight in the chest and crumbles to the ground. And then his opponent jumped on him and pounded him out until he went unconscious. But you wanna know what I thought the second that happened was? First I was questioning, what did I get hit by? And then when I saw the replay, I went, oh yes, instead of rushing the guy to the hospital after getting kicked in the chest, and exactly where his heart is, getting kicked there, don't rush him to the hospital, no. Leave him there, and then when he gets back up from being unconscious, before rushing him to the hospital, grab his arm, and raise his opponent's arm because he lost. Like, you just get kicked in the heart and then punched in the face until you go unconscious, and then instead of getting rushed to the hospital, you're forced to watch as your opponent's arm gets raised above their head. That's how you can tell you're unlucky.
Hey, listen, I was being asked, do you have Anthem?
What?
Do you have the game Anthem?
No. Wait, do you have the, that weird new PlayStation Plus extra thing?
No. Anthem is a game by BioWare, and it's almost like if you would mix Destiny with Iron Man.
Huh. But, Randy.
Yeah?
Wonder why I was asking. Wait, first, do you have Dead by Daylight at all?
No, I don't have Dead by Daylight.
Okay, well, when you get it, let me know, because I can get Dead by Daylight for free on the new PlayStation Extra.
Oh. Oh wait, it's on the PS Plus.
You have to have the extra version that comes with the game catalog.
I have the premium.
Nice! You can get it!
Yeah.
And also you can get Wheel of Fortune and Uno.
Uno. Great. The only game that traumatizes on the most.
Oh, Brandon, you wanna know something funny?
What?
When I was playing Wheel of Fortune, I got song title. When I first joined, I went, oh, okay, I don't know this one. And then the next one was the exact same song title.
Like, here's a little story from Uno.
Yeah?
Me, Mom, and Dad, actually were playing at Uno.
Yep.
When Mom thought she had the last card, somehow, I just never gave all of me to Dad the go card, and basically we gave her +4, +4, +4 all over. And she kept, and I was like, yeah, Mom didn't like that at all.
Oh, Brandon.
Yeah.
You want to know 2 other games they have with the Ubisoft partnership? That, the new Ubisoft partnership with PlayStation?
Yeah.
Again, if you have the
the extra version, and you and me both have the premium, so. But with the extra version, you get Ubisoft Plus, and you can get via that a bunch of good Ubisoft games, and then Monopoly and Monopoly Plus. And
Assassin's Creed 4, no way, 5, Black Flag, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
You want to know something that funny I realized?
What?
You know the game Stray?
Jen actually plays that.
Huh. I had downloaded the game for my niece to play it because she loves cats and animals. I downloaded it. I'm like, Diana, you want to play this? She saw that I had Fortnite downloaded and went, Fortnite, while my internet was having a heart attack. So she pretty much went to play Fortnite while my internet wasn't working. And I had spent the entire night downloading Stray for her to play it when she came over. And then she comes over and she immediately wants to play Fortnite.
You know the little quote I came up with?
Yeah.
It's sort of like the reject humanity, return to monkey. No, reject humanity, become cat.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. When I was playing the game, my mom walked in and asked if I wanted a cookie and gave me one. And when I was playing, before she walked in, I knocked over 2 pots and they broke. And she walked in and gave me a cookie and went, Mom, look what the cat did. And she looks up at the TV and was like, oh, bad kitty. And then, Brandon.
Yeah.
You want to know the funniest part about when I uploaded that video of when my niece was playing Minecraft?
Yeah.
The funniest part was when I uploaded it. There was someone that commented on it, and you want to know who their name reminded me of? A teacher from last year.
Oh, it's definitely
What?
It's Lisa.
Lincoln, I think.
Yeah.
But,
she was an awesome teacher.
Yeah. Still, I look at the comments and I see one underneath the video it looks like it said her first name, and I'm like, is that my teacher? And the funniest part is, when you watch the video, you realize that's the most wholesome I've been ever since I started YouTube.
Oh yeah. You every other day that you arrange to go Minecraft with your sibling.
No, my niece. Minecraft with my soon-to-be 3-year-old niece. Wait, no, 4-year-old. She's gonna be 4. She's 10 years younger than me. She's 11 years younger than you, Brandon.
The birthday announced my DLA teacher, I don't know her name, but she's actually pregnant.
Huh.
So I possibly might have a substitute.
Oh, Brandon.
Yeah?
Somehow my PE teacher actually makes PE seem like it's gonna be fun. And the funniest part was, when that popped up, I also had an English one on the name. My English teacher accidentally set the time for her English class at 1 p.m. instead of 1:40. Fine. So then she completely changed the schedule for her classes to always be at 2 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
For my physical ed, I go with my dad and do mixed martial arts, including Muay Thai.
Nice. My physical.
Boy, I never felt my bones and body sore.
Brandon, you want to know what I do for my physical ed?
Yeah?
Often when I talk to someone on the phone or anything, I'm walking around a lot, so that kind of counts because
that counts.
Yeah, and also depending on how long the talk is how long I walk. And you want to know what my other part of physical edit is?
Yeah.
It originally was when my brother would be at my dad's house more, so before he had a night shift for FedEx, me and him would do MMA. It wasn't very fair by how he's 6 foot tall, and the last time me and him did MMA, he poked me in the eye and picked me up and slammed me on my back and knocked me out cold. But it was still fun because he was on top of me, just slapping me in the face, like, quit, just kept slapping me until I woke up and then got his back and choked him out. And then some.
When you knock out the enemy from like, which game was it?
Oh.
And you just wake them up, and then like just kills them.
Right, and one of the funniest part about it was,
What?
a few months later, when he came to the back house, so where me and my dad stay, to talk to my dad about what happened in the UFC fights, like the day before. After he was doing that, I would try and box me later. When he walked in, and then when he was walking out, I threw the gloves at him. He grabbed them, put them on, and these are not like the play boxing gloves me and my brother would use. They had a lot of padding. These are actual boxing gloves. So he walks over to me. Yeah, and I'm just standing up against the couch. He walks over to me and just starts hitting me in the body a punch until when he started walking away, I just fell to the ground. Like this man just hit me with an anime move and walked away the second I fell. And then, you want to know something even funnier about when that happened?
What?
The first time I ever used those boxing gloves was me and my dad just messing around using them. I hit my dad with a punch that rattled him a little. You want to know why? I kept throwing a right hook to the body. And I set it up with a jab, and then I made it look like it was going to go to the body, and then moved upwards. So he went ahead and blocked for the body and moved his head a little, and straight into the punch. It was like something you would see in like a fighting game or in actual MMA. Because one time I've seen that in MMA. You want to know when that was? This Saturday. Well, last week on Saturday. You want to know why? Leon Edwards fought Kamaru Usman for Usman's welterweight championship. Kamaru Usman won the fight just because he had more stamina than Leon. 50 seconds left in the fight. 50 seconds. And Leon sets him up with a left jab and follows it with a left kick when Usman moved his head at getting hit straight in the jaw, getting knocked out cold. Yep.
You just know that basically, you're every now and then, my sister could. Me and Dad and brother have to figure out what's what because there's so much. You have the terminal list, all kinds of other shows we love to see, including the Sandman. But then we started watching the Berserk anime. Added another thing. And my friend, I'm telling you, if you watch Berserk, it's pretty much how I would say anime's version of the Doom Slayer. Oh.
Random.
Yeah.
Well, it was something funny. When my brother picked me up and slammed me on my back, that was the first time I've been knocked out since 2016.
So, what is it like to be knocked out? Is it like when you black out and a second later you like?
I'm not even joking. I went out, and then I still have my eyes closed while I'm getting slapped in the face by Trent, and he's like, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. And I just opened my eyes, and he's like, oh, good, you're awake. And I just get his back and choke him out. Yeah, it was like in Stranger Things when Eddie was watching Chrissy. Like she was getting taken by Vecna, how he was like, Chrissy, wake up, Chrissy, Chrissy, wake up, Chrissy, wake up. Yep. And you want to know what the funniest part was? The last time he knocked me out was in 2016 when me and him had first started boxing. I'm not even joking. He hit me once and I crumbled to the ground. It was like you're fighting Cody Garbrandt. I had such a weak chin, like a gust of wind knocked me down. And then
we ever have like a match against each other, I'm just gonna tell you this, you'll never notice, but what I'm learning is basically how to knock a person out in a million ways, or possibly kill them.
Huh.
Yeah, and I'm not just talking like stick fight, or utilizing the karate or knife. I'm talking straight up.
Fist fighting?
Yeah.
Oh.
Have you ever seen Muay Thai before? Or like.
Oh yeah, I've seen Muay Thai. One person I do know who, like an MMA fighter I know about that uses Muay Thai is not Anderson Silva, but he was a great fighter when it came down to it. Izu Adesanya. That guy knocked out someone that was an extremely good middleweight in one hit in the second round.
Well, thinking about Muay Thai, but I mix it in with Silat, a couple other martial arts, such as judo or anything, and just mix it all up. Basically, what I'm saying is, some of you guys are all martial arts, all the moves in different combos. You're pretty much a one-man army.
Yeah.
You're pretty much the real-life Avatar.
You want to know something funny, Brandon?
Yeah.
Izu Adesanya's nickname is the Style Bender.
Damn.
He's literally called the last style bender. He's literally the Avatar when it comes down to every martial art.
Oh, because I haven't seen the People Wrestling Factor video?
Not yet.
Oh my god, I'm just gonna warn you, it's a game that I like. It is on the Game Pass. In the first Defense Force 4.1, Shadow of New Despair.
Huh. Brandon?
Yeah?
You want to know something funny?
Yeah?
The first fight I had had since 2016 wasn't 2017, it was 2018, and me and my brother just decided put on the boxing gloves and box each other again. I'm not even joking, by how many hits I was taking, I was mentally telling myself, like, you take one more of these, you're done. You're going down, and you probably should just stay down. So I just started using head movement the second I started telling myself I was done. And I dropped, and I'm not even joking, the first time I ever had dropped my brother was a clean hit straight to the head, and he went straight down in the mud. And then I just started counting because it was boxing instead of MMA, and he didn't get up before the 10 count. Yeah?
Is your brother, okay, how old is your brother?
My brother's 20. He's going to be 20. He's going to be 20. He's my only brother, so yes. And then you want to know what the funniest part was? Me and him, when we first, like our first ever time trying MMA, was after me watching my first ever UFC pay-per-view. My brother took me to the ground and started using just his size and actual knowing of how to use ground game against me, just for me to put him in an arm bar and submit him. I didn't even know what I was doing.
My brother wants to go back to wrestling.
Huh.
And I'm not the
I know you mean like ancient Greece.
I did a couple trainings. I'm just gonna say this, my brother, like, I'm not gonna say this personally, but if you challenge my brother to a fight, like just like a normal like training match or anything.
Get ready to get immediately taken down.
You know, I'm talking like he'll send you, basically, send you up to the afterlife for a 0.2 seconds.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm saying my brother could give it and take it away your soul.
Oh, Brandon, you want to know something? The funniest part about me and my brother's MMA was he got better over time. I got fight IQ over time. So my brother pretty much already had extremely good fight IQ. And do you know what that is? Because in the UFC, the greatest UFC fighter of all time, well, one of the greatest, being John Jones, he switched up his fight plan instantly against so many opponents. With my brother, after I submitted him once, he made sure I could not get his arm at all. And then the second time me and him ever did MMA, he shot for a takedown, and I baited him into taking me down to put him in a guillotine. He picked me up and slammed my head straight into marble. Somehow he didn't knock me out. And then, for a fight after that, he made sure he didn't just slam my head into marble again, because he didn't want to hurt me or the marble. And then I just...
Oh, wait, Quentin.
Yeah?
You know, originally, when you called me, I actually thought it was going to be a spam call or something from the Jehovah's Witness. Like, seriously, they're always... They will never stop until you allow them. And there's nothing wrong, but there's only a point where it gets annoying.
Yep, Brandon.
Yeah.
When my brother pretty much made sure he didn't slam my head into the marble again, he literally slammed me as hard as he did when he knocked me out that first time. And again, that was the first time I've been knocked out since 2016. You want to know when he knocked me out?
When?
2021. It took him. Yeah, it took him until last year to be able to knock me out. And then, but when he slammed me at the same power he did when he knocked me out. The main reason I'm pretty sure he didn't knock me out was because I knew what was happening. When he poked me in the eye, I closed both eyes. And I didn't know what at all was happening, just knew that I woke up with him on top of me, snapping me in the face. But,
that 10x ball was actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like talking to you, like, you're a friend, like, one of my close friends.
Yeah. Oh, Brandon.
Yeah.
When he took me down, and again, he said the same how he did when he knocked me out, one of the funniest part about it was,
what?
He was expecting it to either knock me out or make me loosen the grip. He slammed me and it went tighter. This man choked himself out.
Holy crap.
Because when you slam someone, you expect them to either release the hold or loosen it a little, or to knock them out. He slammed me on my back and tightened it on himself. Because when he slammed me, to get a guillotine hold as tight as possible, you need to be able to just crank on the neck as much as you can. If it, like, pretty much, the guillotine is meant to just cut the blood flow to the brain. So, when fighters get it set up so it's harder to escape, they make sure they are they have one arm trap, make sure they're holding on with the other one, start tightening it, and have their legs wrapped around their opponent sometimes. My brother slams me while I have that entire thing locked in, But when he slammed me, I got my legs around him, so I pretty much choked him out easier.
Oh, and listen,
Yep.
any later this week or this weekend, when they're playing Earth Defense Force 4.1?
I'm at my mom's.
Oh, you're at your mom.
Yep.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, okay. So literally, every month you go switch between houses.
I would have been at my dad's until I don't know, 3 weeks from now, if my mom didn't say I had to be home on Monday. So it's pretty much up to my mom how long I stay at my dad's.
Okay, listen.
Yep.
So, what kind of games do you play at your mom's?
At my mom's, let me look at the literal lineup of PlayStation games real quick. So I have, okay, I'm not even joking when I tell you this. You know how if you have Mortal Kombat Gold Edition, how you just have to spend more money to get the DLC characters, all of them? So pretty much getting the PS5 version is useless. My mom got me Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate for the PS5. Why? Why is it to be useless? And then WWE 2K22 Deluxe Edition for the PS5. That's a cool one. You wanna know why? It came with a signed steel back cover version. Yep.
We had collector's edition out of Street Fighter 5, and mom just I don't know if it was a mistake or not, but when showing up the game, and it came with a box of a virtual model of Rio.
Yep.
And also a concept art book with it, and I'm like,
yeah, that's what it was meant to come with it. And then Red Dead Redemption 2, well, you know about that one.
wait, you ever?
Yeah, you asked me about that where I was at my dad's.
You reinstalled the game, and we could have just been cowboys.
Yep, and then a PSVR demo disc 3. I don't think you can play that with anyone except yourself. EA Sports Madden 23. I don't think you like football.
Do you have any options yet?
I have the case for Battlefield 1. I don't know where it is, and I have the case for Battlefield 4, which I don't know where it is. I have Hello Neighbor. That's all. Right? Injustice 2.
Injustice 2 I have on the Xbox.
Dang. I got WWE 2K20 Deluxe Edition. That game was horrible. Oh, Glenn, you wanna know something funny? My dad used to work for a garbage company. He found Battlefield 4 for the PS3.
Holy crap.
Yep, and also I got Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time. The Untitled Goose Game.
Quick, on the deals, actually it's only for around $7.
Huh. I'll get it when I have $7. WWE 2K19. Well, I don't get that one. That was a very buggy game as well. SpongeBob Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. That's not multiplayer. Battlefield 1 with PS4. Don't know what the game is. UFC 2. I'm currently playing that. Dragon Ball Fighter Z. The text on the side, I like how bland it looks, because all of these things have special cool things on the side except PlayStation VR demo disc. Nice. I got Battlefield 4. Again, don't have the disc.
Oh, wait. Hello? Yeah? Alright. Continue.
I got Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl,
Adventure Time, Finn and Jake invest. Invest in what? Cryptocurrency? Uncharted 4. Oh god, kill it. Uncharted 4, The Thief's End. Square Enix's Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 remix. God of War. Don't know what this game is because I don't have the cover for it on. Mark.
Wait. Quentin.
Yes.
Have you played the original trilogy?
I will when I'm able to.
It's on the PS. It's on the PS Plus, and oh boy, I watched my brother play.
Play the games. It was bloody.
Yeah, and let's just say it got so bloody, even the screen of the game gets covered.
Yeah, I know. I played the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I got Mark McMorris, Infinite Air. I've not played that game ever since I got it. Skylanders. That's all I'm going to say. Spyro Reignited Trilogy. And, let me check out this Steelbook game. Mortal Kombat 11.
That's on the Xbox.
Damn. But Disc 1. The complete 11th season of SpongeBob SquarePants. Disc 1 is in this. SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah, man, that was a good show.
Yeah. Well, those are all the ones in there, all the cases. But now, time to look into my giant thing filled with discs that my mom decided not to put the games in the cases, just in a giant box filled with discs. Probably. So I got, in these, I'm going to start with my Xbox One games. An Xbox 360. Call of Duty 2. Black Ops 2, Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty Black Ops. WWE All-Stars, Lego Marvel, Lego Dimensions, UFC 3 Undisputed. Wait, no, UFC Undisputed 3. The Sims 3 Pets. Disney Infinity. Street Fighter 4. DC Superheroes 2. Check, yep, okay. Lego Batman, the video game. Mortal Kombat vs. DC. They did that game. Mortal Kombat Complete Edition. Minecraft Story Mode, the Complete Adventure. That game never bored. Sniper Elite version 2.
Actually, during the season 2 of Minecraft Story Mode, I had like lots of famous YouTubers in it.
I know. Minecraft, Lego Marvel Avengers, Skylanders again, and WWE and 3 WWE games. And then on my PS5 games, and I only have 4 here because the 5th one I took to my dad's and left there for him to play. I got Lego Star Wars and the other games I already told you about. And now let me get all the way over to my PlayStation PS4 games. So I got Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Subnautica, Red Dead 2, Adventure Time. It says it's Investigation.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
First thing, I'll call you back, alright?
Okay.
Or I'll say, no, wait, I'll see,
Okay.
That's not right.
Hello. Hello.
So that Adventure Time game I was telling you about?
Yeah.
It says investigation.
Oh.
I got South Park, The Fractured Butthole.
Imagine Ubisoft actually made a South Park game.
It did.
Yeah, they were the ones who made it.
And The Stick of Truth. That one, don't play. If you're too pure. Red Dead Redemption 2, Dragon Ball. Okay, more games I already told you about. The Sims 4, Madden 20. Okay, 2K, WWE 2K18 and WWE 2K Battlegrounds. Another Xbox WWE game. Dark Souls 2. Mortal Kombat XL.
Dark Souls 2?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I've seen your stream.
That was terrifying. Overwatch. Mortal Kombat XL. Do you have Overwatch?
You know they're coming out with a second one.
Yep, and also the last time I played Overwatch was with the person that we will not be naming, just because you aren't allowed to talk to them. And with, yeah, and when I played it with him, my game was so laggy.
Oh, and I'm just letting you know, I was looking at the Game Awards stream.
Yeah.
They finally, at the end of the stream, announced Dead Island 2.
Wasn't that already supposed to come out?
No, but we've never heard words since 2014.
How did it take them that long?
I have no idea. You have to see the freaking trailer. Oh, and they're also coming out with a game from the movie Killer Clowns from Space.
Huh.
It's around 47 years old, and it was around the 1990s. It was a pretty wacky, not so much of a horror, more of a comedy.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, Brandon.
Yeah.
But how you said Dead Space 2, you want to know one game I was expecting them to also announce?
What?
I was expecting you to also say the announced Half-Life 3.
You know it will never happen.
Yeah, well, by the ending of Half-Life Alyx, they kind of have to make Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't, it's illegal now.
Also, like Alex is basically a filler episode.
I know. Like, Half-Life 1, Episode 1. Half-Life 2, Half-Life 1, Season 1. Half-Life 2, Season 2. We have Season 3 and 4, if we count, half the episodes 1 and 2 for that. Half-Life Alyx, further episode, leading to Half-Life 3, Season 5.
No, not gonna lie. I'm just gonna say this. I feel like if I create comics or animation for a filmmaker, I was thinking of what if we both were in the work as like that Freddy's Fazbear's Mega Flash.
I feel like the funniest part would be, like, the next time you and me hang out, if you do, like, your mom meets my mom, because your dad's already met my mom, if you're able to spend a night, we could actually play FNAF Security Breach, and I'll start a new save file to go with it. So that while we're playing, it's like we're playing it completely random. Because, and also, one main thing that would happen if you and me were playing that, you want to know what that is?
What?
Mainly, the fact that there's a high chance you will be able to get past the endoskeleton part.
Oh, I already know what it's like.
I don't know how or why, but I'm so close to getting that security badge. But I'm too scared to go into that room by how many there are.
Oh, and they're basically like SCP-1 through 3, but you just clone it multiple times.
Okay, listen, we gotta get that peanut out there to kill that kid. Dude, you a badge. What the? I feel like that would be like a funny skit we do.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, crap, this kid is doing so well at getting all the badges. Deploy the peanut to kill him. Gotta grab this badge, and why are there a bunch of peanuts? And then,
You know what? What about 682, huh? Man, poor... I'm not just gonna say Gregory, because Gregory might not even be a human being, but I'm a little worried about Freddy. Like, just gets thrashed around.
oh, you wanna know something funny?
Yeah.
A YouTuber I watch called Backseat Streams. When they played the game, they somehow got the Vanny ending 2 times in a row on accident when the game launched. Because the first time, he jumped into Freddy, and Freddy deloaded the world, and they fell into the area where you're meant to, like, walk past, like, go past all the destroyed animatronics, and then go into the room. And they fell into that, and he goes ahead, does that, and he's like, then he gets a call from Freddy in it, and he's like, wait, I don't think I'm gonna make it. And he's like, Freddy, what do you mean? You were just fine, I saw you a few seconds ago. And then when he gets to the ending, he's like, oh, sorry, Vanny, we didn't see you a lot in the game, and now you're dead. Freddy, what happened? You were just fine a few seconds ago.
It's totally emotional damage.
Yeah, and then the funniest part was he did it again on accident. He went, oh, okay, then I accidentally jumped over this barrier. And then he didn't even get the ending. He went ahead and got stuck in the railing. He went, well, guys, we have found a new glitch. I am now stuck in the railing. Time to reset.
Have you ever played Saints Row yet?
I have not played the new one.
Oh, not the new one, but the remastered one of Saints Row 3.
No, but I played Saints Row 4.
Oh yes, I should play it on Xbox One.
Yeah, pretty much.
Saints Row game.
Me?
My experience is. Yes, Matrix was great.
The last time I played a Saints Row game, it was me and one person that I'm ashamed to ever have called a friend named Joey. You want to know why I'm ashamed of that?
Why?
Because it took me, a few years, 2 years ago, he showed his true colors in what he actually is. You want to know what that is?
What?
A racist. You want to know how he showed that? Yeah, but you want to know how he showed that?
What?
He is whiter than you and me combined. And he was going around saying the N-word like it was nothing. Smith, what are you doing?
No wonder why it was forgettable.
Yeah, and then I went ahead and just stopped talking to him for 2 years until the beginning of this year. He wanted to talk to me again. Now I'm sure, fine. And then the second I invited my friend Goose, you know, the person that made my profile picture,
Yeah.
I invited her to a call because he kept saying the N-word. He immediately kicked her. I went, dude, why are you inviting random people? And I invited her to a chat with me and him where he couldn't kick her. And then she immediately started getting mad at him for that, and he was trying to make up reasons for why he was able to say that.
Yeah, I feel like you should just do the movie where the man disappears.
Yeah. Like, I'm not even joking, I just went, and just disappeared. And the funniest part about all of it, yeah, that's exactly what I did. Brandon, you want to know the funniest part was?
What?
After all that, the only time I ever played a Saints Row game was Saints Row 4, the one with all the DLC.
Yeah.
Me and him beat the DLC that was meant to be like 2 or 5 or 10 hours long. Me and him beat it in like 50 minutes. Like, me and him just speed ran. So that was the only time I ever played a Saints Row game.
So, what's you doing these days?
Other than schoolwork, I've been streaming on Twitch more. The one that should not be named got me to be able to talk to a guy that completely got mad at the one that should not be named, me and Goose, because, well, Goose wanted to be paid $20 to do art for a Friday Night Funkin' mod. He was trying to force Logan to do all the coding and playtest the game without being paid.
You already told me about that.
Yeah, the funniest part was, now I was talking to him, I decided to bring up the idea of, like, reaching out to a YouTuber called SMG4 and seeing if, like, on his Glitchy Productions channel, if me and Kai, that's the guy who got mad at everyone, could, like, make a thing fully available in SMP on there. Went up, and me and Kai both thought it would be a good idea, and then 2 days later he asked me about it, and I had completely forgotten. So I immediately went, yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And he went, oh yeah, that's funny, I was your fan. Yep. And then someone on a server that has Emerson and the one that shall not be named, and his girlfriend and pretty much all their other friends. One of their friends, named Finley, started getting mad at, went into the event chat and went, oh, no one's talked to me this entire break in my class, and yada yada yada. And he was pretty much being mad that no one talked to him. Logan tried talking to him. You know, when that shall not be named, tried talking to him. And he didn't want to talk to him. So he was complaining about no one talking to him. When that shall not be named, pretty much just went, like, not to be mean or anything, but I tried talking to you and you said no. And me just hearing both sides, seeing both sides of the story, and realizing, Finley, I talked to you. Am I now a nobody? So immediately, me and the one that should not, well, not even the one that should not be named, me and him were playing Overwatch, and then when I saw that and realized, this man doesn't even think of me as anything, I immediately, well, shut up, no one cares. And everyone acted like I stabbed their grandmother. But this guy has been talked to by all of you, and says, none of you talk to him. You have to talk to that man. You act like, and he's like, oh, none of you have talked to me, I'm so sad. Like, sir, if people have talked to you, you can't say no one's talked to you. So, no one cares, because that is a big fat lie.
Alright, Quentin.
Yeah.
You know, this year had started off with World War III from monkeypox, which not really a great name for it, because, well,
They had to find a new animal to name it after. After the swan flu.
no, because it started from Africa.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good name.
Yeah, that ain't a good name. And now we have the second chief shall not be named getting in trouble so much that the FBI got involved.
What was happening?
You know, I dare not say his name.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, the, not so nice man who ran for 4 years.
Yep.
He stolen about 300 classified files.
Yep.
And now most of his followers are starting making death threats to the FBI. One of them even on that or the same day tried to attack an FBI place in Ohio.
The FBI is the highest form of police. What did they think was going to happen?
Yeah, this man started shooting. He started using a nail gun, then moved on with an AR.
Yeah, this man went, okay, screw it, I'm going to use an AR.
Yeah, he got sniped.
Yeah, that's the main thing about the FBI. Again, it's the highest form of our police. Because when there's someone holding people hostage, there's that one person that goes in there's that one person to try and come up with a plan, and then there's the FBI agent with a sniper aimed at the guy's head. None of that works.
Oh, and another thing. Another follower got arrested for sending death threats to most of these FBI agents'
Makes
families.
sense.
Yeah. Now, one thing you should learn about training someone: never threaten a federal agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they. Yeah. Anyways, man, it was good talking to you.
Yeah, it was good talking to you.
Hey.
Yep.
Just let I know we can talk anytime.
Okay.
Well, if it's around my breaks in school, I can. But like, anyway, see ya, man.
See ya. Bye. It's fun. I forgot why. I don't even know why I didn't talk to Brandon for a while. I was asked about my sister if I'm at my mom's. Last time I checked, this room was pretty much home, so. Grandma, are you with Mama? Yes. 3.14, It's on there. Then Simpsons, Sesame Street. And now I'm gonna skip the ad.
But then, 2019, everything changed. Up until this point, most of the search consisted of speculation and minor leads. But on February 14th of the same year, a collaboration between the American Archive of Public Broadcasting and Sesame Workshop was announced. The Library of Congress stated that Sesame Street has, quote, donated a collection of digitized episodes from the past 50 years of Sesame Street to be preserved for posterity. The Sesame Street collection will be available to view on site at the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., and by appointment at WGBH in Boston. This collection consisted of nearly 4,500 episodes, including several iconic moments and songs from Sesame Street's earlier years. However, it was unclear if the coveted Wicked Witch episode would be included. Not only that, but the archive was available to view on site, meaning that even if 847 was included, you'd have to travel to Washington and make an appointment. Regardless, I eagerly waited and hoped for the best. But then, something really unexpected happened. Just about a week after the event was announced, a never-before-seen image of episode 847 appeared online. It supposedly came from one of the admins of another wiki named Radiance. And he had told Gravy, quote, all I can say is that the episode isn't lost, and hopefully, someone will share more about it at some point this year. The quality of the image gave little doubt to its authenticity. This wasn't an archive still or a decades-old reference. This image was taken from some kind of master tape.
Oh my gosh, that was a day. Okay,
Okay, here's how it happened. Here's how it all went down. I was waking up from a nap, and I got a Discord text message. I was like, have you seen this? And I thought, and I was looking at it, and I was like, I had to double check that I was not still asleep. So I just kept staring at the photo. I was like, oh my god, man, we are getting somewhere here. And I was like, this is very exciting. And, you know, people said, oh, probably keep her in Library of Congress, probably keep her blah, blah, blah. But I know a handful of people, including myself, they contacted the Muppet Wikiad and then uploaded this photo. And we were like, where is it from? Where's it from? And what's his name? Radio Name. He was like, all I can say is that the episode is love, and hopefully someone will share more about it at some point this year.
Later that year, the Museum of the Image announced an interesting event called Lost and Found. It was a screening of the show's rare segments held in New York. The event took place in November 2018 and included special guests Rosemary Trujillo and Norman Stiles, who both worked with Sesame Workshop. Quote, a panel of insiders will shed light on such stories as why Margaret Hamilton, who played the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz, never reappeared. Now, I remember that this event was first announced. It was pretty big news to me. Episode 847 was a well-known mystery at this point, and something of a holy grail for velocity enthusiasts, Sesame Street fans, and just fans of TV in general. I could not pass up the opportunity to watch what I've been locked away for so long. I purchased my ticket, packed my things, and headed to Times Square. Recording was obviously prohibited during the event, but they did show a myriad of other well-known lost Sesame Street clips, like Wendy, Cracks, and even some of the elusive divorce episode, which is still completely lost, but that's a different story. Until, at long last, Stephanie D'Appuso came onto the stage to introduce the next thing they're showing, episode 847. They didn't play the entire episode. I mean, obviously, that would be like an hour long, but my eyes gleamed as I finally watched the Wicked Witch episode. At the end of the event, I introduced myself to Norman Stiles and asked, are there any plans to release 847? And he said, no. According to him, Sesame Workshop are just too embarrassed by the whole ordeal. And that is supported by the angry letters. I respected his answer and cared for the material, but I couldn't help but feel disappointed. And that was that. I left knowing that I was one of the few who watched the long-lost Wicked Witch episode of Sesame Street, the one that hadn't aired since 1976. Or so I thought. Almost as quickly as the event ended, leaks of 847 began appearing online. The most widely circulated was this one, a shaky recording from a smartphone. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised, given the rarity of the episode.
It might have been like a week after, I don't know when. Initially after the screening, you know, people were posting links of like the divorce episode, and like Cracks and audience reactions and stuff like that. But everybody was a little bit scared to just post the witch audio or video or anything that anybody took because, like, you know, you don't know what's gonna come after that. Especially, you know, for such like a hush-hush screening, like they wanted to keep that whole entire thing discreet. So right after the screening, I do remember a couple of screenshots popping up. I remember it came from 4chan, and then things started to rile up, you know, because people were posting the link here and there, probably respect what was going on in the theater and try to keep this away from that. I remember there was like a big fight in like the comments of the archive.org upload because like people were like, no, you shouldn't have this up because da 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 da, and they were like, no, it's for preservation, and everybody was just like, ugh, and everybody was ganging up on each other, and there were like two sides of the story. So eventually that all came to a close when talk of the event and stuff like that was banned, and you know, the whole thing became like so hush hush after that.
I wanted my hepatitis C gone. I put on treating money.
Epclusa treats all main types of chronic hep C. Whatever your type, Epclusa could be your kind of cure.
I just found out about it.
I knew for years. Epclusa has a 98% overall cure rate. I had no symptoms of hepatitis C.
Mine caused liver damage.
Epclusa is only one pill, once a day, taken with or without food for 12 weeks. Before starting Epclusa, your doctor will test if you have had hepatitis B, which may flare up and could cause serious liver problems during and after treatment. Tell your doctor if you have had hepatitis B, other liver or kidney problems, HIV or other medical conditions, and all medicines you take, including herbal supplements. Taking amiodarone with Epclusa may cause a serious slowing of your heart rate. Common side effects include headache and tiredness. Ask your doctor today if Epclusa is your kind of cure.
On June 18th, 2022, after years of searching and speculating, it finally happened. The coveted Wicked Witch segment is uploaded to Reddit by a user known as SarsaPorella170170. This user has made no other posts or comments, besides one, a download link to the entire episode, which has since been removed.
You know something? You have got to be the most beautiful person I have ever seen. Oh, keep still. Wow, I think I'm in love.
I was kind of astonished, I'm not gonna lie, because this is like one of the most prioritized like pieces of lost media, period. So this was like huge, especially the fact that it came out from Reddit on a random day. I mean, we got the whole thing. And listen, the fact that it was like a studio copy. This was not a TV recording. This was not copy from a TV station or a cast member or anything like that. This was the recording.
Shortly after this discovery, I was invited to conversate with the leaker. Unfortunately, they remained completely anonymous and were quite vague with the details. They seem to have only wanted to end the search. News of the leak erupts online. Where the leak originated from is a matter of debate. But there are some things to discern. After the Sesame Street's Lost and Found event, episode 847's page on the Mother Wiki was updated with screenshots from the episode, including segments that weren't shown during the events. This raised an important question. Where did these images come from? The Mother Wiki, as well as the Mother fan site ToughPics, were inundated with questions, yet they couldn't disclose their source. Perhaps they received it straight from the workshop. Others speculate that it could have been a cheap station copy that was never returned or destroyed after its initial airing. More interesting, in October of 2021, the American Archive of Public Broadcasting experienced a data breach. According to their Twitter account, quote, a user improperly downloaded episodes of Sesame Street that were restricted to AAPD premises. The American Archive of Public Broadcasting has arranged for takedowns of these episodes from the Internet Archive and YouTube. This raises yet another question. If the breach happened patched back in October, why did it take over 8 months for the episodes to appear online? Especially since the AAPD seems to have taken immediate action, and the leaker himself wanted to end the search hastily. Or could none of this be true? Could the leaker have gotten the episode from an alternate source, immediately took it to Reddit, and been done with it? It would explain why re-uploads of the episode have not been taken down by the AAPD, but that remains to be seen. Nevertheless, one of my personal holy grails of lost media has been found. Lost media being found in bizarre ways are rare, but they do happen. Anonymous collectors and unconfirmed sources make the search all the more fun and unexpected. You just never know how something will turn out. But there is just one last thing to talk about.
See, the divorce episode, I see it like, this is the exact same thing people were saying at the start of the 847, so it's very hard to see it come to the light of day, but listen, when you got this, you never know. There's a lot of things we could be embarking on.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon. And I want to give a special thanks to Gravy for providing so much insight into the search. And one final thanks to Semper for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to click the link below and use the promo code WAYMANS for 55% off your first month. Take care, everyone. I love you all, and I'll see you next time.
I've definitely made a risky purchase or two, or many, meaning my passwords might be floating around the internet for a hacker to potentially steal. But luckily, two-step verification keeps my Google account safe. It's fingerprinted good.
Growing up, what was your favorite kids' TV show? Maybe it was Pokemon or the Magic School Bus, Drake and Josh, Dexter's Lab, Adventures of Pete. Really, your favorite kid show could have been anything. But for me, it was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You know the story. 5 teenagers in color-coordinated super suits defended the Earth against the forces of evil. Premiering in 1993, the show was instantly for kids, and it is easy to understand why. It had superheroes, martial arts, sword fights, dinosaurs, lasers, giant robot battles, all wrapped up in a single 30-minute package, and I loved it. I watched it every day after school, as soon as I got home, and my favorite character was the Blue Ranger, Billy. Yeah, Billy was the worst fighter, how he starts the series as a pretty white belt, but he made up for it with his brains over brawn approach to conflict and his clever inventions.
teleporters, flying switch missions, flying cars. Really made being nerdy cool back when being nerdy wasn't. For me, he was Power Rangers. And so one day it really just sort of vanished. Out of nowhere, just showed me together this really bizarre story of him just going off to live on an alien planet with a goodbye video, obviously voiced by a different actor.
I made a really important decision on mission 1, but I'm going to stay here on Earth until it's SJ.
Yeah, after nearly 200 episodes of the series, Billy literally got used. As a kid, I was so annoyed that I stopped watching the show entirely. Why the actor who played Billy, David Yost, left so suddenly would be a mystery for years until 2010, and he finally revealed that things behind the scenes weren't so more phenomenal. Yost quit the show because some of the producers and crew had been ruthlessly bullying him. David Yost got so depressed that he started having thoughts about being alive anymore. So he quit the show, enrolled in Gage's first therapy, which was obviously a course, and he suffered a complete breakdown. But problems like this behind the scenes certainly aren't rare. Hi, I'm Pedro. I make deep dive content about unusual week, and today we're looking at the less pleasant side behind children's television shows. Think abusive productions, censorship, your lawsuits, the lives of TV animals, controversies, and more. Welcome to the ugly side of things. Hit it! The audience was divided into teams, and members of each team participated in various physical challenges like paper throwing, balloon popping, ice cream scooping, and flying Pepsi can pouring, which I don't think they're up for. At the end of each show, the team with the most points would win all the prizes, like these sweet watches. What were the watches for? Toy Junction lacked high-budget values. It's clear that the cast and crew put a significant amount of time and effort into the production. Occasionally they go all out to create these elaborate costumes and set pieces, some of which would only get used for a few seconds. That's impressive. Trying the physical challenges to show us some entertainers, comedians, cooks, some of the most uncomfortable children we've ever seen, as well as really big song and dance numbers like this one about having patience before snack time. Look, I know it's easy to poke fun at stuff like this, but honestly, for a bunch of 12-year-olds, that's not a terrible music performance, and it's certainly not the worst thing on the show. Let's talk about the puppeteer, Ronald Brown. Much for Stephen Cook was working to develop a strong following in his local churches, making him a perfect fit for Toy Junction. Brown even hosts weekly pizza parties at his house for the young kids, and it seemed like everybody in the community really liked this guy. And all of that would just be wholesome and neat and great, and not for the fact that Ronald Brown really wanted to eat some children. Hey, I told you things are going to get, ugly today. Because it was uglier than Predator and Puppeteers of the Andy-O and children. But besides that, Brown might not be such a great guy. Would be in the early 1990s when during the routine traffic stop, police noticed something unusual in the backseat of his car. Children's undergarments. Brown, thinking quickly, told the cops the undergarments were for his puppet, Marty, which was somehow accepted by the police as an not insane thing for a human to say, and they just let the man go. In 2013, the truth finally came out as Ronald Brown was arrested for participating in an online community of predators surrounding the practice of, well, a lot of horrible things, but mainly the children's. According to the chat logs used during the trial, Brown would refer to his partners that he met on the show as his, and I'm quoting here, little piglets who would make for fine Easter feast. That's it. Fortunately, Brown was sentenced to 20 years in prison for his involvement in activity, and considering his old age, that's probably going to be a life sentence. Hopefully. Real quick announcement here, smoking is bad for you. Infections? Are you okay with that? Alright, then we're all on the same page. But for television network executives in the mid-20th century, the fact that tobacco was already widely known to be dangerous, well, that wasn't really a big enough deterrent for Hanna-Barbera cartoons to present that smooth, sweet tobacco ad. Hang on, I got it right there. You know, it's kind of fun to laugh at how
absurd these ads are, there's also a sad twist here that the entire main cast of Flintstones will all eventually pass away due to smoking-related illnesses. Still, in 1967, the FCC started enforcing what's called the fairness doctrine on tobacco ads. Every 3 cigarette ads on television stations, 1 anti-smoking commercial would have to be aired and paid for by the tobacco industry. The compromise worked reasonably well, and the anti-tobacco ads led to a sudden and dramatic drop in smoking rates in the United States, somewhere between 5 and 10%. Eventually, smoking ads on TV were banned entirely, but also not really, since cigarette companies can still pay for advertisements with billboards and signs at sporting events that were being televised, like NASCAR and especially baseball. For decades, you could find a tobacco company's logo and name appear in the features, essentially just for their home runs, the one that people are paying the most attention to. Even when sporting agencies started cracking down on logos, stockers got really clever at hiding their identity. But I'm getting off track. This video is supposed to be about kids' taste, like how in 2015, Juul Labs, the electronic cigarettes maker, bought advertisements to display on various children's TV websites like CartoonNetwork.com and Nickelodeon.com. In their defense, Juul claimed that they weren't intentionally marketing to underage users, and yeah, I'm sure there's some adults on CartoonNetwork.com. But how about the other sites they advertise on, like CoolMathGames.com, BasicMathMaths.com, and oh, this was great, SocialStudiesForKids.com. Please, Juul, in 2020, the Massachusetts Attorney General's office filed a lawsuit over these ads, which is currently ongoing, but not looking great for Juul. And in 2015, there was also nothing pressure on popcorn for targeting teens with flavors like guava, watermelon, and a flavor literally called OMG. Okay, just for a second, we're going to pretend that OMG is a flavor, but it's not the species of flavor. What the hell would that be? That's still not a flavor that you market to adults. You know what? Maybe smoking ads for children and that creepy eye now return from the tiny people we were a little too heavy for our first couple of times. Let's do something fun next. Just kidding, this one's gonna suck too. Here's a list of beloved animal stars that aren't alive anymore. Keiko, the orca from Free Willy, the dog from Airlight, Mr. Ed, of course, Spuds McKenzie, the dog from Little Rascals. Okay, that was like 100 years ago, of course he's dead. Most dogs who have played Lassie, sad, but again, not unexpected. All 48 of the pigs played Wade the Pig. All of them? All of them. All the pigs live. And finally, that little sneaky baby panda Chi-Chi, who, yes, after a movie, and yes, is also dead. So, what does any of that have to do with Flipper or children's television? Truthfully, not that much. None of those animals' deaths were the fault of Hollywood or TV. They lived full, healthy, happy lives before dying. Well, not the whole Rascals though. And you're straight up poisoned by somebody on set. Just messed up. Oh, or Keiko, she got dumped into the ocean and then never really assimilated to the orca and then died alone in the ocean. But the other animals, full lives, full happy lives. Still, it's at least fair that we delve into the mysteries of rock history when it comes to animals being used for entertainment. Here's a neat ancient Roman history fact. You already knew that lions were commonly used in the Colosseum arena games, but did you know that when the Romans first dropped lions into the pit to fight people, lions, they just kind of wouldn't. It's true, in the early games, these terrifying freaking lions got tossed into a closed space with 100,000 people screaming at them and did what anybody would do, what I would do, they just waited in the corners. The audience was quite disappointed by that. All you have to imagine that the people in the arena did not play pretty thrilled. To make sure that lions would be more aggressive, the Roman animal trainers started beating them inside the walls of the Colosseum and conditioning them to attack people. All for our entertainment. Things have improved for animal entertainment in the modern era, but there's still unpleasant stories from behind the scenes. Let's talk about Flipper. Inspired by the 1950s TV show Lassie, which was about a dog that went around helping people out of dangerous situations, Flipper was about a dog that went around helping people out of dangerous situations. You may be thinking, hey, how many situations can a dolphin actually help people with? And the answer is, not that many. So the writers had to keep coming up with increasingly elaborate and implausible scenarios that could somehow only be resolved by a wicked smart dolphin. There were boat-based hostage situations, oil rig counterfeit operation busts. There's one where Flipper is put on a plane and taken to a laboratory that wants to teach him how to speak English. There's a communist spy plot. There were multiple episodes where Flipper eats something valuable, like a bracelet or whatever, and everyone's like, "Yo, Flipper, thanks for always saving our dumbass kids. This rich woman really wants that diamond necklace you ate, and we're just gonna have to cut you open to get it." Yep, this happened like 3 times in a show with 60 episodes. Flipper was a weird weird looking show. The role of Clifton was mostly played by Dolphin and Captain, who had been taught the wild commanding performances. By all accounts, Captain seemed to enjoy working on the series, and there's no evidence of his being Roger Kramer's staff during production. After the show ended, we took a downward turn for Captain's well-being to a sentimentally small store in Miami's fairly unusual, where the years of frequent outings showed them its constant interaction. She had a lot of trouble adjusting. Including the staff there would eat, would swim, and eventually started putting themselves into the walls of the chamber, a thing dolphins apparently didn't. The staff called Rachel Berry, Captain's former trainer for the show, said that we found Captain, she swam into his arms, held her breath, and passed out of the water, dying of scenario. Berry believes her death was intentional, self-determination. If I can get up on a soapbox for a second here, something TV studios and Hollywood in general are usually really good at is protecting animal performers during show productions, which they are now. But there's no additional regulations on how animal stars are cared for offset after the show ends. In the late 1960s, television producer Joanne Nance Kennedy and early educational specialist Lloyd Marston were developing plans for a new kind of children's television program focusing on educating children instead of just entertaining. But they needed a way to keep kids' attention for the entire length of the show's runtime, and the answer was puppets. Enter Jim Henson. Henson had made a name for himself in television puppeteering with both his short-lived but popular 1950s series Sandy Friends, as well as a few well-known box office performances. Morrison asked Henson and his team to design, craft, and perform as the show's puppets, or puppets as Henson called them. Henson agreed to help, and in 1969, Sesame Street hit the air. Parents loved the learning center element of the show, and everybody loved Henson's creations like Big Bird, Oscar the Grouch, and Cookie Monster. Now, Henson was proud of his work on Sesame Street, but he also wanted to produce a show of his own. So in 1973, Henson pitched a new series that could be adored by every Nielsen home in the country. Freaky, long-haired, dirty, cynical Hitler. The little more freaky, long-haired, dirty, cynical woman. And we'll all get different and we're hard to work with, but you won't care. Because you all make a lot of money. And another weird twist of fate, one of the executives pitched to the show was none other than young Michael Eisner, a man who would later become an endless CEO of Disney. And that'll be important later, but Eisner loved the puppets so much that he greenlit the project not just for one, but for two pilot episodes, including the Muppet Show Sex and Violence, which is not what it sounds like, but you kind of wish it was. Well, in the sale to the cast of the Muppets, British Channel 18 swooped in and ordered a full season of the project, giving us the Muppet Show. The series debuted to incredible success, running for 5 seasons, winning 21 Emmy nominations, and launching movies, merch, and puppet cartoons. Thanks to Henson, as well as the hard-working crew of both shows, Sesame Street and the Muppets became cultural super icons for both kids and the world. And before we get into all the ugly stuff, let me just say without the slightest bit of shame, I adore both of these shows. Seriously, when's the last time you sat down and watched either series? I think because we grow up with these shows, we lose some appreciation for how incredibly talented and
Goat Simulator 3?
Peggy 12.
It looks like Goat Simulator. Yeah, it looks like it has some... It is real. I'm gonna love that when it comes out.
Hey, how's it going? So, the internet is kind of wicked. And you know, when you're dealing with something as gigantic such as the internet, you're bound to reach some really, really weird stuff. And that's what we're doing today. We're talking about some really fucking far out shit. Some of these I found when I was just a middle schooler, and it definitely left an impact on me. I can say that, alright. If this video ends up being a success, I don't know, if it gets like 5,000 likes, hey, I'll make a sequel. So, without further ado, let's talk about some real weird-ass shit. ScaryMaze.com. Let's start off easy. So this is
been fairly popular, and if you grew up in the 2000s, you probably stumbled upon on this website. Okay, so imagine this. It's the year 2006, and you're 7 years old, and your older brother decides to mess with you. He's like, oh, hey, you should play this maze game. It's pretty hard. And then as I'm like playing through it, I'm just like, hey, this isn't really that hard. I'm just greeted with this giant, scary face on the screen screaming at me. And then I just proceed to scream myself, because I'm just like, oh shit, that's scary. So it's a pretty simple website. You just play this game, go through this maze, and it's been used as a prank to scare your friends. I was never really a huge fan of these type of pranks, especially because they would translate into YouTube videos via clickbaity titles. For example, I remember watching this video that would be like, oh hey, Shadow the Hedgehog is actually in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I would click on it and then just be greeted with a screamer. And the worst part about it is that he actually is in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. He's just an assist trophy. Just my 8-year-old self was hoping that he was playable. God, I'm so stupid. And I just got owned. So yeah, ScaryMaze.com is still active, but like, you know, you've already watched this section of the video, so why even bother trying to do this anymore? I'm pretty sure everyone has already been pranked by this website.
He's got great, well-rounded fundamental skills and always comes in with a smart game plan.
Thisman.org. Have you seen this man? This weird, odd sketch of a man? This following website's goal is to foster communication between people who have seen this man in their dreams. They wish to figure out who exactly this man is, and why do they appear in these dreams. The thing is that like a lot of these dreams containing this man are mostly positive. Some of them are even romantic. One of the dreams have said this: I fell in love with him for the very first time I saw him in my dreams. Even though, if I think about it, I must admit, he's really ugly. Yet each and every time he sweeps me off my feet with his romantic gestures and sweet words. He buys me flowers, jewelry, and he takes me out to dinner or to the beach to watch the sunset. Now, if that isn't true love, then I don't know what is. It's pretty interesting. He's made his way to posters all around the world story this guy stated on the website. So this stream states this: I have never had homosexual relationships or even fantasies, but I dream about having fantasy with this man all the time. I must admit, he has a lot of imagination and he pleases me. Sometimes when I wake up, I discover I have had a nocturnal emission. This is pretty bad, not gonna lie. Personally, I've never dreamt about this guy, but maybe you have. Comment below if you have, because I genuinely want to know. Hey guys, Zeke here. If you're liking this so far, make sure to like this video. Also, ComedaLoveMail.com. This is probably one of the weirder things on the list. How interactive it is, but that also makes it one of the more fascinating ones. You have the option to talk to this clown who is fully voice acted, who sounds oddly reserved to themselves. Creepy music plays in the background as things get more and more distorted as you continue talking to this clown. The clown seems very supportive of you, as it seems to be wondering how you're doing as an individual. He also states that he's just around and that he'll do anything to keep you safe and comfortable. A little odd, and it just seems a little creepy. At one point he asks you to take him to the moon and then you're transported to this cave and maybe get... What the hell is... What is this? His name is Amadeus, and he explains to the player that there's another god who's like this false god, and there's all this lore that I don't completely understand, but it seems all rather interesting. I looked at the blog more, I think I would understand the story more thoroughly. At one point they even did it even deeper into the cave, which kind of looks like a sewer, and the music gets even more twisted. It's actually pretty impressive. I will give the author of this game mad props. It's pretty cool.
For generations, we've watched the seasons change. There's something special about falling.
FromTheGauntlet.com. Okay, so I was on this website for a grand total of, say, like 2 minutes, and it was quite possibly one of the most vile things I've ever been on. Listen, I know, like, stuff on the internet, it can get really just nuts. But From the Gauntlet has a slogan that says it's the most vile, puke-inducing, hard-to-watch videos on the internet. And I could honestly agree with that, because it honestly is just stupid and disturbing. I don't know if stupid is really the right word. You know it is. It is. Why would you watch this unless you're just dumb? Like, seriously, what are you someone have like a better use of their time rather than just watch these puke-inducing gore videos that are just terrible? And I would say you could really take this segment of the video in which I talk about these shock websites, because there's really a bunch of them all over the internet, that even mentioning one of them would really be mentioning all of them, because they're really just the same websites at the end of the day. It's like, oh look, someone's dying in this video. Oh, okay, good to know that your website's just filled with one of the most putrid shit ever, like all these other websites which are basically just the same thing. I guess you could really say I'm not really a big fan of Run the Gauntlet or these shock websites in general, because they're not really that interesting whatsoever. They're just all the same thing. Alright, next up. SkyWayBridge.com. This is arguably the most disturbing one so far. Skyway Bridge is a bridge located in Tampa Bay, Florida. Unfortunately, the bridge has harbored at least 316 people who have committed suicide by jumping off the bridge. This high number has led to the state of Florida to install 6 crisis hotline phones all across the bridge and install 24-hour patrols to ensure safety. SkyWayBridge.com records all these incidents going as far back to the year 1954. It goes through various newspaper scans and camera footage to encourage those not to take their own lives. There are stories upon stories on here that are incredibly heartbreaking. I would not recommend going on this website if you are not in a positive headspace. Despite all the tragedies, there have been individuals who have done their best to avoid any more losses, including an officer taken from this clip in 2013.
K-9 Deputy Anthony LaRosso was crossing the Skyway Bridge when he says he saw a woman ready to jump from the top.
She kept screaming, "I can't," even while she was on top of the wall, and then once she actually swung a foot over, and I lunged for her and grabbed her the rest of the way off, and she just kept screaming, I can't, and I want to die," and I just maintained custody of her until I got some more units with me.
The website also contains multiple hotlines in case anyone ever needs help or is having negative thoughts. Remember this, you are never alone. Yvette's Bridal Formal website. This is an eyesore to look at. Let me just say that plainly and clearly. It is an eyesore to look at. The main shtick of the website is to advertise bride dresses. But it gets really weird when you start clicking around on the website and head to like articles explaining the Salem witch trials or discussing aliens. Like, dude, I just want to buy a dress. And now you're explaining to me the process of demonic possession? Like, come on, give me a break. So I click on things such as tuxedo rentals at $65, and when I click now, in front again, renders. Come on. Prior to its closing, people contacted asking about the website, and the store owners merely just stated this. Project of his, one of my favorite.
Yeah, no, I'm done. That's just getting too crazy.
Is that John? That's John. It's me. Just making sure you're you. Two-step verification style. Two-step verification adds an extra step when you sign in to make sure you're you, so even if a hacker steals your password, they still can't get into your Google account.
We were a little bit bad at this game. We barely beat night 2, and now we're moving on to night 3. Well, I'm guessing it's going to take more attempts to get rid of the ghost. And night 3 is probably going to be more attempts to find out what animatronic the ghost is possessing, right? Night 2, we had to find out the handprints, and it was kind of awkward because animatronics were coming in and out of the room while the handprints were spawning, so it was really difficult actually to know who he is. Let's go, guys, let's go with night 3. The Mangle? Question mark. We discovered, guys, from that VHS tape that the animatronics are building a Mangle creature with some animatronic parts and stuff. So, that's interesting. But let's say hello to our good friend, Paul Bear. Where you at, buddy? In this
my brain. Hey buddy, how did it go? It went well. I found something that you might want to know about. Oh, what's on your mind?
Ready?
I think the ghost left us a message in the form of an old school VHS tape. Oh, a VHS tape? Yeah, I stumbled across it after my shift. I think he was trying to give us a message.
Come on, let's go, do something.
About what? I'm not too sure. It was just an old school cartoon episode, but something was very off about it. Well, how did the tape end? With Freddy carrying a piece of animatronic to a door that said, the mangle. A mangle of parts? Why would the ghost need animatronic parts? Maybe the ghost is building a new body. She's building the mangle. The mangle her? I don't like the sound of that. Let's see if the next tape will help us. I'll talk to you after. Good luck, buddy! Okay, so yeah, okay, I'm dreading this, guys, to be honest. This game is pretty difficult. But also, as well, thanks to the comment section, you told me, with the conveyor belt, that when the animatronic gets down, this door opens, and then you have to, like, pull parts out or something like that. I'm really sorry. Like, it was my first playthrough, I didn't know what I was doing right.
I'm gonna end my stream
thank you
here.
very much for the help, and hopefully some of, like, most of you guys didn't get frustrated at me. I know it can be annoying watching a video and where they don't